Oh man. Oh. That was a pretty fucking great episode. And you know, like usual, we have a lot to discuss. And you know, we didn't get a battle this episode, which I'm completely fine with because we have so many fucking things going on behind the scenes this episode. It's like little fucker proved how much he's a little fucker. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh man, I cannot wait to discuss all of this with you. Whew, we got a lot to talk about. Let's let a few minutes roll by. You know, I'm gonna finish watching up the behind the scenes, and then we will be discussing these things. Please go ahead and slap some likes on this video. We got a lot to discuss. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and you know, chat it up with everybody who is in the chat discussing this right now. And then, you know, but yeah, couple more minutes. Fuck, I love this show too, Evan Water. I see all of y'all. I'm about to do some shout outs in a second. Littlefinger is now called Little Fuck. Little Fucker. Oh man, I got so many names for this, and then none of them are pleasant. And excuse my language. Oh, are y'all ready to discuss? Better yet, are y'all ready to see my ugly mug? Oh man. Whew. I see y'all in the chat. We're gonna get some shout outs popping off. What is, oh damn. Look, behind the scenes type shit right there. Let me bring that forward a little bit. Alright, so yeah. How are y'all doing? How is everyone? What is going through your mind right now? Like, I got so many different things that I want to talk about with y'all. First off, I want to say, because we were just talking about this in the chat, Gendry, what the you are a fucking savage with that Warhammer, bro. Like, what the hell? Like, I was not expecting that. I mean, like, let me be honest, we did kind of see that scene was leaked. Someone, I think, filmed it with their phone or with a drone or something like that, but it was nuts. It was nuts, dude. Like, he had just mentioned to Davos, like, look, I fucking hate the Lannisters. They killed my father. I'm loving the fact that this dude put a fucking stag on the hammer. That shit looks sick. I was like, dude, I hope that's on the prop list for stuff that they sell at the HBO website, because I would love to purchase that. I know it'll probably be like $500, but that is sick. Like, that was such a sick hammer. But yeah, first out, I want to go ahead. I'm going to look and make sure everything's going properly. Yeah, just give me a second. All right, so we got 708 people watching right now. Holy shit, let's see if we could break some records tonight. If y'all could, please slap a like on this video. Really helps out in supporting my channel, and you know, it's awesome. All right, so first thing we have happening in the episode is Bron saving Jaime, and they escape. Now, I kind of knew that might have happened, but I was a little bit, like, let down a little bit, because I was like, oh, come on, man. You guys somehow swam all the way across the fucking lake, and she didn't notice. I guess they did swim all the way completely to the other side, and yes, the entire field, when they looked down, was covered in smoke. So it is possible. It is possible, but, you know, it's kind of like, and then we get Tyrion walking through the battlefield. It's cool because we get to see that the Dothraki have not left down their savage ways. They're picking up weapons and shit. It's almost like when Sandor killed the Brotherhood members and he immediately grabs Homeboy's shoes and he's like, yo, do they fit? They're picking up their swords, seeing if it's a good quality sword. He's like, yo, I'm gonna take this now. But yeah, you know, so the Dothraki are still up to their somewhat of old ways. Then Daenerys gives her infamous speech. She loves giving speeches. She's like the speech giver of the television series. I love Dany, but yeah. So she basically ends up telling these dudes, I thought it was edited in a certain way where they cut out a whole bunch of stuff before she said, or die. Nope. She did say some shit in between the beginning and the end, but it was basically like, you know, Cersei is worse than I am. She says I'm bad, but she's so much worse than me. I'm gonna do everything to destroy her and all of the Cerseis of the world. And she basically hits him with so bend the knee or die. And of course, you know, a few people get down immediately after she says that, but then Drogon steps in and shows that he's not fucking dumb. He's paying attention. He basically knows everything that's happening. It's crazy. I think the dragons are more intelligent than dogs. I did a video earlier where I was like, yeah, they're, you know, if they can be trained like dogs and horses, their intelligence level must be similar. No, it's fucking, this dude can understand English. He knew exactly what was happening. They didn't kneel when his mama said kneel. So mama's boy let out a scream and everyone was like, all right, fuck it, I'm getting down. I surrender. I'm sorry. I surrender. I give up. Daenerys, fucking kneel. But no, Randall Tarly did not do so. You know, Tyrion is like, yo, let this dude take the black. I feel like it might have gone a little bit further, but Randall had to interrupt and be like, you know, we chose sides in this war, difficult choices. And he basically thinks that I think he did that because he wants to save his son. You know what I mean? He saw that his son was still standing up, so immediately he's like, okay, let me try to go ahead and do this. And he tells Dickon, he's like, yo, stay back, dude. Don't do it. Just let me get, you know, beheaded or whatever is about to happen. But stay back. Nah, it doesn't happen. And both of them move forward. And Tyrion, it's cool to see that Tyrion is basically respects Sansa a lot. I'm sorry. Tyrion is basically pulling the Sansa role. And Daenerys respects him a lot because she does talk back. Jon was basically, it was a good interaction there. But they ultimately get roasted. And you don't really see too much of them as soon as the flame engulfs them. It's like a little bit of like char and ash, and then they just fall over. It was pretty insane. Like, the CGI for this episode, I understand why the budget got poured into this. Like, this episode has been saving up because, you know, we have I'm getting ahead of myself here. Jon Snow, oh man. I wanted to start talking about how Jon touched fucking Drogon, and his hand was like on Drogon and shit. And it was chill, and it was like, oh man. But no, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, they end up getting burned, and then I see we got a couple super chats. I do not want to skip those. Holy shit, we already have 1,305 people watching right now. I love y'all. I love all of y'all. I love all of y'all. And oh man, that's fucking insane. All right, how am I gonna do this? Okay, so we got. Let me go back. I should have. Damn. All right, so we got a super chat from Alicia Davis, and she said, "Did they add dragonglass to the weapons before they left?" I'm assuming. I didn't really pay attention to that, and I need to go back and watch. But I'm assuming they had already had some. Possibly, maybe they started forging the dragonglass when they were still at Dragonstone. Thank you for that super chat, Alicia Davis, and I will be try to answer that question in more detail in a minute. We got a super chat from Matt Z, and there's no message there. Thank you, Matt Z. Appreciate it. Me and him been chatting on Patreon. He became a Patreon sponsor recently. Holy crap, I can't believe we got 1,500 people watching right now. Can y'all please go ahead and slap a like on this video, and let's continue this discussion. Then we have Daenerys meeting with Jon and Drogon when she arrives on Dragonstone. Jon Snow is looking pretty fearful. He was, but he ultimately overcame that fear and put his hands on the magnificent beast. Or at least he wanted to call Drogon a beast. But Daenerys had to correct him and say, hey, look, that's my child. Don't call him a fucking beast. It's almost like saying, when you see an ugly baby, you don't say the baby's ugly. You say, oh, that's a handsome baby. You got a handsome kid there. But Jon was basically doing that same thing when he said, oh, it's a beast. You know what I mean? He's trying to, it was insane. I was like, yo, I knew that he wasn't going to get eaten, but that's how good of a show it is. You really don't fucking know. Like, that would be a hell of an end to Jon Snow, but dude, his lips were snarling, and I was like, yo, Drogon, relax, dude, relax. He's your fucking, he's like your what would he be? Cousins. They're like cousins. So, oh man, Jesus. That's to believe if they are truly Daenerys' children, which they are. Then we have Jorah showing up, which I was actually pretty excited for until I saw how he left, where he fucking kissed her hands and shit. But once he shows up, Jon Snow meets with Jorah, and it's funny when Daenerys goes in to give Jorah a hug, they almost kiss. Like, I know I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit, but they kind of meet for a second. It's like almost, and then not, and then Jorah immediately assumes his Captain Friendzone role in sizing up Jon. He's like, oh, who is this dude? Jon kind of looks away for a second like, wait, I saw that. They were about to kiss. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Jorah, come on, bro. Don't step up. If you had just kissed her, she probably would have kissed you back. And then, you know, it could have kind of been known that Dany likes old dudes. But I think that the way that Jorah's mentality is working, you know, he was getting ready to give in and just let them send him to Old Valyria so that he could go live out his days as a stoneman. I think Jorah might finally... Look, if you love something, you have to let it go, right? I think that's what he may be planning on doing with Daenerys. I think, like, he may ultimately decided to go on that journey north of the wall with Jon Snow, and we are jumping miles ahead right now, but he decided to go north of the wall with Jon Snow because he kind of wants to see the worthiness of Jon. You know what I mean? Like, obviously he wants to serve Daenerys, but I think it's more that he saw that Jon and Daenerys potentially have some chemistry. And you know how he bonded with Daario Naharis when they were traveling to go and get Daenerys from the Dosh Khaleen? He kind of wants to do that same thing with Jon Snow. Wouldn't it be a fucking shame if Jorah and his father both die north of the wall? Like, I hope that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen with Lyanna. You know what I mean? And why the fuck, when at the very end, we're jumping ahead again, but, you know, before they leave for the wall, we have Tormund and Jorah. They have a little bit of an exchange of words, and he's like, wait, you're fucking Mormont? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, your father hunted us. And he's like, yeah, I heard you returned the favor. Why was it not mentioned? Why did Tormund act like he didn't respect Lyanna Mormont like all of us? Like, Lyanna Mormont is the fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? Why does he act like he didn't respect her? But yeah, anyway. You know, after Jorah meets with Jon and Daenerys on Dragonstone, Bran is warging some crows, and he finds out that the Night King's army is on the move, and the Night King actually forces him out of spying on him, which is pretty fucking incredible because it shows you that this last battle between, you know, when we're finally at the end of Season 8 and we're fighting the Night King head-on, Bran could likely be able to fight him in like a warg state. Like, basically, Bran could warg like anything around him and just start fighting him, and they just kind of warg off of each other. Oh, that would be insane. Oh, man. You know, then we have Sam. We arrive at the Citadel. Sam gets, obviously the Maesters have received word from Bran because Bran sent out ravens as soon as he was forced out of the warg and he knew that the Night King was on the move. He sent ravens to everyone, and we cut to Sam at the Citadel, and Sam is over listening to a conversation. He's basically pouring these old fucks tea, and they're like, hey, you know, we should believe this dude, but, you know, I thought at first, Maester Ebros was gonna basically be like, hey, look, Sam is a good dude. Sam spoke up and was like, the cripple? You're referring to Brandon Stark. I saw him several years ago, and he was going north of the wall. He survived north of the wall when wildlings and men of the Night's Watch couldn't. Obviously, he's there's a reason why he survived. How could he have survived? He's a crippled boy. You know what I mean? If these people that are trained and go north of the wall all the time, they can't even survive there. There's a reason why this boy survived. Maybe we should listen to him. I thought Ebros was gonna be like, look, Sam cured grayscale. He did some shit that no one else can do. Let's give him that chance to get a little bit of credibility in here. But nah, they end up playing that shit off. Like, he says we're gonna get to the truth of it, but the way they joke with each other, it's almost like Ebros will be outnumbered. He may be a Grand Maester, but I feel like the other dudes are going to easily overthrow that notion. They're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck what Sam's saying. You know what I mean? Let's do this. Because Ebros basically proposed the idea that Daenerys it's a ploy by Daenerys, and Daenerys wants all of the southern armies to send their troops away from where she's invading at, which is really fucking dumb. I mean, I guess it kind of plays to the sense that we all know Maesters don't like magic. Daenerys has dragons, it's confirmed. And also, we find out that the Maesters know that Randall Tarly and Dickon Tarly, Sam's father and brother, were just recently killed. And he kind of didn't. I feel like he might have gone easier on him because of that, but he didn't. Then we have, I'm going to try to speed through this so we can hurry up and hop in the chat and start chatting with y'all and see what y'all's favorite parts of the episode was. But real quick, before we continue, what do you guys rate this episode? On a scale from 1 to 1,000, holy shit, speaking of 1,000, we just hit 2,124 people. That is a record for this channel. Please slap a like on this. Thank you for tuning in and joining me. And I'm going through my notes on the episode, and then we will hop in the chat and discuss with all of y'all wonderful fucking people watching right now. Then we have Varys and Tyrion in Dragonstone. Varys is basically telling Tyrion that he needs to convince him and can make her listen, basically, or make them listen. And a lot of people, and I want to go ahead and call those people out. They jumped in my comment section. They were like, "It's talking about convincing Cersei." I was like, dude, why the fuck would Tyrion think that Cersei was listening? Basically, come to find out, he's talking about Jaime. He met with Jaime, and that makes sense to me because he would meet with his brother. I'm jumping ahead a little bit again here, but Tyrion and Jaime, that scene was fucking hilarious. I cannot wait to go back and rewatch that. Tyrion's jokes were on point. Jaime was just not trying to hear none of it, which honestly, it kind of disappointed me a little bit because he had just had that conversation with Cersei a little bit before, you know, where he was kind of, it seemed like he would be open to that. I see we got a 1,000, a 99, a 7.5, a not over 9,000, 750. I give it a fucking 10 out of 10. I'm always going to give it a 10 out of 10 unless something crazy like the Sand Snakes are resurrected and somehow they're the only whites that can speak and they just have lines or something. That's the only way I'd give it a lower. I mean, it's just an amazing show. Like even bad for Game of Thrones is still light years ahead of everyone else. You know what I mean? It's literally the best thing to happen to television. Since I Love Lucy, you know, I'm just kidding. Let's see. We get Jon Snow gets word from Bran that Arya is home and that Bran is in fact home, and he leads into the conversation with Daenerys. Is like, look, I thought they were dead. And Daenerys is like, I thought you'd be more happy. And then Jon brings the news that the Night King is on the move and they need to quit bullshitting around with Cersei. And this Game of Thrones does not matter. They need to focus on the War for the Dawn. We have basically some hatchery, some plans get hatching, and Tyrion tells Jon that he should get proof. And Tyrion convinces Davos to smuggle him into King's Landing. And then we have Jorah offering to go north with Jon Snow, which, like I had mentioned earlier, I think the main reason why Jorah, the motivation behind that, obviously he just got back with his queen. You would think he would want to stay with her for a little bit. But the main reason I think he's behind that is because if you love something, you got to let it go. And he's going to do that with Daenerys. You know, he realizes that he's an old dude, so even if it did kind of work out with them, he can't provide and protect for her as much as someone half his age, like Jon Snow. And I think he wants to go on a journey with Jon to kind of find out what makes his character. He wants to find out what makes Jon Snow work and what makes him tick, so that way he can willingly, you know, give Daenerys off. I think he would, at this point, you know, they look like they were gonna kiss. I think at this point he would be like the person in the marriage if Jon Snow and Daenerys got married. I'm just saying, it's fucking possible. Daenerys was very sad when Jon Snow was leaving. But he would be the person that would give her away. Then we have Jon basically checking Daenerys because Daenerys says, I didn't say you could leave, because she was getting sad, like, oh, well, you think you're gonna go to Eastwatch? Well, I didn't say you could leave. And he's like, no offense, my lady, my queen, future wife, but I ain't gotta have your fucking permission. I leave when I want to. I put my trust in you. You know, I did all this shit. Obviously, I'm a good dude. You're a good person. I have faith in you. I'm going to go do this. I don't need your permission to go do it. Then we switch up to up north with Winterfell. Sansa's getting praise from Jan Royce and Lord Glover, which honestly I don't even know why the fuck Lord Glover is like trying to make himself be known so much, because he was one of the first houses they went to last season before the Battle of the Bastards, and one of the first ones to turn them down, and then actually offended Jon. But obviously Jon is like fucking Martin Luther King in the sense where he doesn't give a shit your race, your creed, your color, but we're all on the same side, and that is the side that's breathing, which is even more ironic because, you know, Jon Snow is a fire wight. He is a living dead person reanimated by fire as opposed to by ice. So it will be interesting to see if this man can read. We have 2,469 people watching right now. That's insane. Go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you got your notifications turned on, so when I break down the episode, which will be dropping by tomorrow morning, make sure you have your notifications turned on so you get alerted when I drop that. You know, then we have Sansa putting them in check basically by saying, you know, we have to trust in Jon. We all elected him as king of the North. Basically, shut the fuck up and sit down. Arya and Sansa chat. Arya is kind of like telling Sansa that she should behead those people for standing up against Jon. I'm not really digging. Arya is showing more of her being a psychopath. I love her. She's one of my top 5 favorite characters on the TV show for sure. But she's just showing, you know, she's showing her ass a bit. She's kind of saying like they should jump the gun, which I agree with her in a sense. But I also think that she's kind of, she wants to test Sansa. She basically scared her a little bit. You know, like she got really close to her. She told Sansa what she was feeling deep down, and you know, that's basically kind of what the waif was doing with her. So it's like she's using that to prey on Sansa. I wasn't really feeling that too much. I was like, come on, bro, what you doing, bro? Like you trying to role reversal. It's almost like, you know, she saw when Brienne was kind of picking on Pod when Brienne shoved Pod to the ground, so that's what made her jump in and want to kind of check Brienne and saying like, look, why don't you fight someone your own size? I've got the skill. I've got some skills. Let's see. You know what I mean? So I kind of was like, oh, she's like looking out for, she's not a bully. But now in this episode, she's a bully, and she's a bully to someone who's related to her. Like they're the only 2 Starks at Winterfell. Oh, you forgot about Bran. No, I didn't. Bran is Bloodraven / Three-Eyed Crow. He's not actually a Stark anymore. He said it. He died in that cave. Bran is Bloodraven. So yes, he's Bran Stark physically, but everything else, he's Bloodraven. Tyrion and Davos arrive at King's Landing. They have a pretty funny exchange where, you know, Tyrion mentions how the last time he was in King's Landing, he killed his father with a crossbow. Davos said the last time I was here, which is kind of sad. He said the last time I was here, you killed my son in Blackwater. And we had them talking to each other about that. A lot of people were wondering, since we have Tyrion and Davos on Dragonstone together, when it was going to be brought up, the fact that Tyrion is basically responsible for killing Davos' sons. He was the one who poured the wildfire. It was his idea to pour the wildfire into the Bay of Blackwater, and that's what caused the Bay of Blackwater to explode. We just got a super chat from Lisa, and she said, hang on, let me scroll down and find that. It scrolled super quick. It said, John, I am a king, clearly didn't bend the knee in the cave. Yes, so you're talking about, thank you for the super chat, by the way, but you're talking about how it was, I kind of said it was metaphorical in the sense of we don't really know whether Jon Snow bent the knee, but I did say that something like that would likely happen on camera. So yes, Jon Snow didn't bend the knee, but he also did kind of go back on his word a little bit, but he said, I put my trust in you, you are my queen. So he doesn't have to bend the knee. He's showing his bending the knee in other ways. So he bent the knee in a metaphorical sense. He didn't physically get down on his knees and bend it. He bend it. Let's take me down. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that yet. I got that coming up in a second. But thank you for the super chat, Lisa. Let's see. We have Jaime meeting with Tyrion. Tyrion and Jaime's conversation, and I don't want to get out of hand by quoting something, you know, without verbatim, but basically Tyrion says, father was going to kill me. What was I supposed to do? Not because I was guilty of killing Joffrey. He knew I didn't kill Joffrey. He was still willingly going to have him executed. And obviously Jaime was just like, stop bullshitting. Spit it out. Tell me what you want. Why am I down here? Jaime was actually led underneath the Red Keep. And we got to see more dragon skulls, which is cool. I can't wait to go back and screen cap and see all the different sized dragon skulls that we got. But he basically says, you know, I want to take you down here to train, and I want to do it out of sight of other people because I don't want other people to see how bad you are with the sword. So he ends up dipping off frame, and then on walks Tyrion, and they have their conversation, and basically Tyrion tries to convince Jaime, you know, that they should basically back down, and they should start worrying about fighting the White Walkers up north. Then we have Tyrion and Jaime's conversation ends, and then we have Gendry meeting with Davos rather, and Gendry, as soon as Davos walks up to Gendry, he actually made a "I thought you'd be still rowing" joke. I knew that they were gonna slip that in there somehow. I just didn't know how, and I didn't think it would be that blatant. Like the first words that are said to Gendry are, "I thought you'd be still rowing." Like, come on, what? Oh, that was fucking hilarious. I was laughing my ass off. It was still funny because that's what we were all thinking. Hashtag still rowing has been trending, like has been a popular hashtag on Twitter for years. So they had to slip that in there somehow. Just like how Tyrion said The Walking Dead in a few episodes ago. Then we have Robbie B's Warhammer. Gendry is basically he's like Davos is like, hey, you should take one of these swords with you, and Gendry's like, I prefer a hammer, and then he grabs the hammer, then we get a close up and we see the Baratheon sigil on that hammer, and he grabs it, and it's cool because, like, yo, oh man, he ends up going up to the boat, and then Tyrion walks up. Before Tyrion walks up, the Gold Cloaks walk up and talk to Davos. Davos is basically able to give them 15 gold. Oh, we got another super chat. Let me hop on that real quick. Where did it go? All right, there we go. This is thank you, Fred Wicks, and he says, will Gilly recall the Rhaegar wedding to like about Lyanna Stark? Basically, I think that's how it's gonna be brought up, because right after she said that, Sam wasn't even paying attention to what she was saying, because he immediately ends up spazzing out. So I definitely think the way it's gonna be brought back up is by Tyrion, or sorry, by Gilly mentioning to everyone, like, hey, wait a second, that doesn't quite work out. I remember reading this thing at the wall. Gilly is probably gonna be reciting information all the time. She knew how many steps there were. Oh man, thank you for that super chat, Fred Wicks. We will be coming up to that in a second. I got a couple notes taken down on that. Oh, we got another super chat from Pelotro Man 19, and the reason why I'm answering these super chats now, I'm going to answer everyone's questions. I'm going to try to get to all of y'all's questions in the chat, but the reason why I'm answering these now is because these people donated, and I don't want to forget and not be able to go back. I have to get them while they're on the screen. All right, and this is from Pelotro Man 19. Thank you, sir. And he says, when you get to it, what did you think of the Davos line to Gendry where he says, nobody listens to me, all I ever did was live to a ripe old age? Like basically saying, like, you know, what am I talking about? All I did was live this long, so you guys should basically be advising me. I actually thought about that, and I do have some thoughts on that. I will be coming up to that in a second, but basically, I think it's ironic, and I think they should have taken some of Davos's advice. But I do have notes on what Davos actually said before he said that, so I want to comment on that more, but I need to refresh myself first. Let's see. Basically, Tyrion waits. Or Davos is able to get rid of the gold cloaks. They turn on and start walking towards the direction Tyrion's coming down, and they walk past each other first. And he's like, "Hey, we were looking for a dwarf with that." He asked him about his scar. He's like, "Where'd you get that scar from?" Tyrion's like, "A fishing hook," and then basically Davos immediately starts to shoo them back, you know, by saying you shouldn't eat the fermented crab, which, by the way, I have, oh man, I forgot to mention that, but yeah, fermented crab, like, that was pretty ironic. And then the way they pick it up and then put it in their mouth, I was like, damn, dude, you're just gonna eat whatever this dude says, like, whatever. But it was cool because Davos knew, you know, he's a smuggler, so he was used to having to bribe guards and shit like that. So they got over on him, and then once Tyrion makes his way to the boat, they ask him about the scar. That bullshit happens, and then Gendry whips out the Warhammer and smashes them in the head before they could even think twice of what's going on. Like, they literally, they don't even get a chance to respond. You see them kind of going to grab, and then bam, Gendry just shows up and just hits him in the hits one in the head, to the side, and you just see him immediately go down. And then Tyrion takes out then Gendry takes out the other one to the face, and he had like a bloody, blistered mess of a face going on there. Then we have Cersei. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you, Shira Prince, and she says, Arya, you really thought she was being a bully? I thought Sansa isn't really trying to defend Jon at all. Arya has a point, but yeah, definitely psychopath vibes. Okay, so let me explain a little bit more. I think Arya is using tactics that were used on her, where it's just basically like you're mentally abusing someone. Sansa can stand up for herself, but also, she's not as quick as she's gonna have her defenses down a little bit with Arya, and I think Arya was taking advantage of that. So she was being harsh. She was basically forcing Sansa. She was making Sansa feel a certain type of way, and Arya was being aggressive in the way that she was talking with her. So Arya, I do agree with, like I had mentioned, I do think that Arya had a point in saying that people who talk shit about Jon Snow should be dealt with, but I think she's jumping the gun by saying they should be beheaded. Obviously, they shouldn't be beheaded. That shouldn't even really cross their mind. Maybe if she had mentioned to Sansa, hey, you know what, you should go back and almost give them a stern warning, because Sansa was right in the sense that they have Jon Snow's army. You know what I mean? Like, Jon definitely wouldn't have been down to behead them. So honestly, Sansa's acting how Jon would. We all know that Jon Snow, he didn't even do nothing to the houses that physically fought him in that war. He literally did nothing against them. He let their children come in and then repledge an oath to him. So Sansa is acting in Jon's nature. This is how Jon would be if Jon was there himself. So that's kind of what I think, what I meant when I was saying that. And I see we got another super chat. Let's see. This is from Patty N, and it's just a super chat, no message. Thank you, Patty N. That's awesome. Appreciate that. All right. Where was I going? Okay, so yeah, Cersei and Jaime talk about Tyrion. Basically they have a bit of a conversation, and then that main moment that happens between them is the fact that Cersei is apparently pregnant. Now, I don't know if this is true, but obviously she's got a maester with her. Maester, Qyburn would definitely be able to tell if she was pregnant. And honestly, she gives Jaime a hug. Jaime almost looks like, during that conversation, he almost looks like he's going to sway sides from her at any moment. Just the facial expressions on his face are like, what the fuck, bitch? How crazy are you? You really don't want to back down? You want to fight dying? And then, he comes back around. She basically pulled that card. Kelly Kapoor from The Office. She does this to Ryan. She tells Ryan on The Office that she's pregnant, and it's basically to rope him into dating. And as soon as she gets the chance, they go to her in the camera, and she's like, she's not really pregnant. So we don't really know if Cersei's doing that. If she's basically she saw that Jaime could be straying away from her, so she immediately tried to pull Jaime back in by hitting her with oh, I'm pregnant. So basically they have something to fight for. She reinstilled the fire inside of Jaime. The fire was taken away a little bit. Bron kind of knocked some sense into him. That conversation they had on the other side of the lake, he was basically saying, hey, you're a dumbass for charging at the queen. And he was like, well, I would have killed the queen. The war would have been won. And he's like, dude, fucking think about it. But Cersei reinstilled that fire in Bron, and Cersei reinstilled that fire in Jaime. And speaking of which, she did mention something about Bron. Now, we still have yet to see Lena Headey and Bron in the same scene because they don't like each other. But what do you think's gonna happen with that? I think she may test Jaime's loyalty, and she could potentially try to do something with Bron, like maybe lock him up in the black cells or something, or maybe even behead him just to ultimately test Jaime's loyalty. Because Bron showed who he was loyal to, Tyrion. He fucking went in contact with Tyrion and then went behind Jaime's back and was like, set up that meeting. I saw that I missed a couple super chats. We have one from Matt Z, and he said 19K subscribers. Holy shit, we did. We hit 19K. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that super chat. Let's see. And then we had another one from the Bio Explorer, and she says 1910 subs. Thank you. That's awesome. We're at 1936 now. That's what's up. We're at 2,800 people watching right now. We are just blowing through records. Please go ahead and slap a like on this video, and I want you all to tell me in the chat right now where the hell you're watching from. I want to try to get us when we have the most people watching. Where are you guys from? Go ahead and type in the chat. Are you from Are you from Earth? Are you from Planetos? Where are you from? Type it in the chat. I want to know if we are worldwide, if we are global in this bitch. I think we may be able to hit 20,000 subscribers, or maybe 19,500. Let's be a little bit more modest. There's almost 3,000 people watching right now, and I know half of you guys aren't subscribed. Guess what? There's only 2 episodes left this season. And when you get to the end of the season, what are you going to do for the next over a year that you have to wait for season 8? Get entertained by motherfuckers like me and many of us who are Game of Thrones YouTubers. So go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and turn your notifications on, and then click a like on this video. All of what I just said is free, and it greatly helps out in promoting this video in my channel. I cannot believe we smashed through that record and we have 2,800 people watching right now. That is fucking insane. Oh, these places are flying by. Real quick, we got a super chat from Lisa, and she says, will Northern Lords really side against Sansa over that stupid scroll? She was 13 years old and being held hostage, and Robin, yeah, and basically Cersei was forcing Sansa to write that. I'm getting up to that. I want to talk about that in depthly because I fucking hate Littlefinger, but he's basically acting like old Littlefinger, so it's almost like I kind of respect him again. I hate him for what he's doing, but I kind of respect him again because he's acting like old Littlefinger, and he does have a fucking plan. He's not just some brainless idiot walking around Winterfell waiting to die. He does have a plan, and I want to discuss that in a second. Thank you, Lisa, for that super chat. All right, so let's see. Starting off, we got Montreal, Ireland, middle of nowhere, South Carolina, New Orleans, Portugal, Jerusalem, Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Australia, Finland, Queensland, Cali, Ohio, New York City, New Zealand, Texas, Florida, Utah, Norway, Baltimore, Canada, Philly, representing 215. That's my place of birth. Had to slow down and mention that multiple times. Belgium, Mexico, Arizona, Nashville. Shout out to Nashville. Shout out to Kind of Thrones. Make sure y'all do some research. Look up what Kind of Thrones is. It's pretty amazing. If we have some time later, I'll discuss that. Portugal, Kyrgyzstan, Norway, Germany, Texas, India, Ontario, Peru, Georgia, Arizona, DC, Florida, England, Brazil, Lithuania, Qatar, Greece, Louisiana, Taiwan, Boston, Mercury, nice. we're fucking interstellar on this show right now. Toronto, Quebec, London, Galatia, St. Lucia, Indian, Westeros, nice. We got a Westerosi watching us. Michigan, shout out to Detroit. I don't know if that's where you're from, but yeah, we got Trinidad, Qatar, Atlanta, Greece, Neptune, another interstellar, Wales, Kentucky, California, Las Vegas, Seattle, North Korea. That's hilarious. The communist state where you guys are supposedly loud. Internet. All right, so we are officially Chi-Town. We are officially world the fuck wide right now. All right, so let's get back on task, and then I will take the survey of where you guys are from again in a little bit. So after we have Gendry meeting with Jon Snow, that's probably one of my favorite meetings ever, dude. They immediately bond. Gendry pulls the, I see Egypt, I see you. I know I didn't say that. That's awesome. Egypt is like my favorite place. My dream job as a child from the age of 9 when The Mummy came out up until present day, I wanted to be a geologist, and I wanted to go in I guess it would be a paleontologist. I wanted to go dig up shit in Egypt. That was like my dream job, and it still is. Next to becoming an extra on Game of Thrones Season 8, where I play a Dothraki savage that has muscles for days, and I save the queen's life, and I get the chance to go and eat dinner with Emilia Clarke, and we like hang out, and then all of a sudden like sparks fly, and then like, you know, oh man, oh it's crazy, oh Jesus Christ. All right, so yeah, that meeting, it was awesome, and I'm honestly, oh shit, what the hell just happened? How did my light go out? Hang on one second. Damn, y'all can't see me right now. What the fuck? Perfect timing light. Alright, there we go. We're back. I thought the light bulb blew out. That would have been a lot worse. Yeah, that would have been a lot worse. Alright, so yeah, basically, it was cool to see them bond immediately. Like, right before he goes in and meets Jon Snow, Davos is like, checking this dude. He's like, your name is, I can't even remember what the fuck he said his name was, like Flutos or something. He was like, that's your name. Don't say nothing about how you're the bastard of Robert Baratheon. And he's like, okay. As soon as he gets in there, he's like, hey, my name's Gendry. I'm Robert Baratheon's bastards. Our fathers fought together. Let's fight together again. It was insane. It was awesome. It was like, Jon goes, I grew up hearing stories about our fathers fighting together. And he's like, you're a little bit slimmer than Robert. And then Gendry hits him with the, I thought you'd be taller. Oh, I was like, Jon, are you about to check this dude? He was like, nah, he gave him that smile. Like, yeah, that's awesome. They connected like instantly, dude. It's what's up. And you know what? I made a prediction. I'm going to call myself out right now. I made a prediction that Gendry would become Jon Snow's blacksmith immediately, and that doesn't seem to be happening immediately. I think Gendry may be closer than that. And then eventually, when Jon Snow realizes that he needs Valyrian steel, Gendry could be doing that. Gendry's swords, I don't know if you guys saw those, but Gendry's swords in the background, they were sick, dude. He had a lot of hilts, and he recognized that Jon Snow basically had a Valyrian steel from, Valyrian steel sword. He could tell from the hilt. Oh, it was nuts. I love that meeting between those two. Honestly, I like that more than, you know, when Bran and Sansa reunited, because that was like, you know, we had reunions, and honestly, that meeting between Jon and Gendry was pretty sick. Then we have Tyrion and Jorah meeting up, and Tyrion gives him the slaver's coin and basically says, bring it back. And he's like, I honestly missed my time with you. Tyrion is a smart ass, and that's really cool to see that him and Jorah reconnected. He basically give him something, and you know what? That kind of makes me think that Jorah may die, because it was like a very sentimental, heartfelt reunion / like send away. And honestly, some stuff happened, but I don't know. I kind of think Jorah may be dying. You know, look for a theory video coming up on that from Sir Hunt's Reviews. Let's see. Jorah says goodbye to Daenerys, and he pissed me off one last time. He held her hands first, and then he gave her a kiss on the cheek. So if somehow Sam was not successful in curing you, Daenerys has fucking grayscale. Obviously, she doesn't. She's got plot armor, and plot armor wards against all things, including grayscale. But if she gets grayscale, she got it from you and Ian Glenn. You don't, man, you bastard. All right. Then we have Jon Snow leaving Dragonstone. Then we cut to Sam and Gilly at the Citadel, and this is probably one of my favorite moments of the episode. No, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. This was my top three favorite moments of the episode. Fucking Gilly. And honestly, I was never like, I never hated Gilly, but this made me become more of a fan of hers. She basically reads out that she says, how does she say it? She says Rhaegar. She means to say Rhaegar, but she doesn't say Rhaegar. She says something Ruger or something. I don't know. She says some shit like that. But basically, she says that Rhaegar and Elya's marriage was annulled and that he was remarried. What the fuck? Dude, I predicted this in 2016 when the season ended. I said Sam would be at the Citadel and that he would discover a fucking Targaryen marriage book, and in that marriage book it would show you that Lyanna and Rhaegar got married. It's not exactly how I predicted it, but come on, that's pretty much it. That was insane. She basically found it seemed like she was reading Maester's notes, like she was reading Maester's journal. Like she was reading, you know, this guy had basically kept track of everything. He knew how many steps there were, and like, that was insane, dude. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It was I know, and it might not seem like a very important scene to you all, but that was probably one of my favorite moments of the episode. That was the confirmation that I was looking to kind of get. No one really knows except for Sam and Gilly. Really, only Gilly, because Sam kind of had his outburst after that, but it was pretty exciting. All right, so then we have Sam freaking out, and then he basically has been a confirmed kleptomaniac. He has developed kleptomania. He stole his father's sword, Heartsbane, last season, and he is now made off with like 15 plus books from the restricted section of the library. So what do you think is in those books? That we're going to be guessing what's in those books for the next year, because I don't know if Sam's going to make it back to Winterfell, I guess. I don't know if Sam would go to the Wall. I don't know if he'd go to Castle Black or the Winterfell. But wherever he goes, we're going to have to wait till he gets back there to find out what's in those fucking books. It would be interesting if somehow he didn't... Oh, man. I don't even... That was nuts. But yeah, Sam is a confirmed klepto. Then we cut to Arya, and she's spying on Littlefinger in Winterfell. And we're almost reaching the end of my notes, so I'm going to be full on in the chat after this. Arya is basically spying on Littlefinger. Littlefinger has a woman hand him something. I don't exactly know what she handed him. It almost looked like it was a little vial of poison. I'm not really sure. But he ends up going back to his room, and then Maester Woken arrives and hands him a scroll. And we're about to find out what that scroll is, but basically Arya sees all that. She sees it all happen, and then Littlefinger goes back into his room, puts the scroll away, locks the door, and then Arya shows up. obviously picks the lock, goes into Littlefinger's room, and we actually get a shot from Arya in the trailer where she's looking underneath the bed. That was straight up from the first trailer. It's funny how they show us moments from the entire season in those initial trailers for the whole season. A lot of people think they're in the first few episodes, but no, they literally, you know, they show us early on. But, you know, Jon Snow finding out about his lineage, and I see a few people talking about it in the chat. This basically confirms that he is not a fucking bastard. He is not a bastard. They had annulments, and they got an annulment. So that means that his marriage with Elia Martell, you raped her, you killed her, you murdered her family. It was annulled. So Jon Snow was born. Jon Snow's last name is fucking Targaryen. Like, literally. Like the person that said in the chat, like a few of y'all have said in the chat, he is legally Jon Targaryen. Alright, but yeah, so jumping back. Basically, Arya finds the note, and I zoomed in on it, and from what I could make out, it was written by Sansa, and she was talking about Joffrey, and then, you know, like forsaking his crown or something like that. This was basically the note that Sansa was forced to write under Cersei. Cersei forced her to write a note to Robb, telling Robb to come bend the knee. Arya's face fucking lights up. She tucks the scroll away and dips out of his room. And then around the corner, lurking in the shadows, is little fucking finger fucking Baelish. He is back to his manipulating ways, and he is literally just I don't even know, man. Like, what the fuck, Littlefinger, bro? I want to choke you out, but you got some respect, okay? Like, I hate you, but you got some respect in my book. Because you're not a brainless idiot who's just walking around Winterfell sort of like waiting to die. That's not the case. You had a plan. You had a plan, Stan, and you stuck to it, man. Like, oh, you pulled it off amazingly. Like, obviously, he's baiting the shit out of Arya right now, but... like, dude, it's like you could only hate on him so much because he's a fucking master manipulator, and he is literally doing exactly what we all didn't think he was planning. He was planning it the whole time. He saw, you know what, Arya fucked up because she acted aggressively after she fought Brienne. You remember, Littlefinger was left looking down at her. Arya gave Littlefinger that look like, dude, as soon as you fuck up, I will fucking stab you. Littlefinger's like, oh, okay, let me play this to my strategy. I think what his plan is to basically get Arya to, I guess, confront Sansa. Sansa would have to put Arya in her place, and then they won't be as close as they have been, you know? Oh, man, I don't know. Honestly, I can't wait to find out. But fuck you, Littlefinger, but also props to you, because you aren't a mindless idiot. I can't believe he knew she was following him. She looked away. He probably could see her out of his peripherals, and then he looked back there to be like, oh, I guess I'm in the clear. He knew that she could still see him. She knows Winterfell, so he's like, oh, okay, let me do this in the blatant open. Because honestly, Littlefinger works mainly behind closed doors. Him meeting with that handmaiden or whoever she was, that was out in the open. It was like down a hallway, but it was still out in the open. It's like the whole time I'm like, Littlefinger is not this stupid. It's almost like when Arya was acting dumb in Bravos and she was walking around flipping a coin, basically whistling, and I was like, oh, she's doing it on purpose. No, she was just fucking up. But that's how Littlefinger was acting. I'm like, okay, so he's even more. Nope, he was planning the whole fucking thing. Props to Littlefinger, you, but also props to you, bro. Then we have Jon Snow arriving at Eastwatch, which he is sailing. He's sailing on the winds. They're arriving, you know, setting sail and getting to places. Holy shit. What? Hang on, I need to pull up the thing because I missed this super chat. Hang on, let me see if I can slide to that. Yeah, I got it right here in my chat. Is there a message with it? I'm not sure what currency that is, but that's thank you, Nara Kiwi. It's a $200 or 200, I think, yen. I want to say yen, I'm not sure. How good was it to see Littlefinger find his game? Oh, perfect timing for that too, bro. Like, it was pretty good. It was like, I never have been a fan of Littlefinger. I've always hated this dude, but I also like to see people play their role, and I hated him more this season, and you can look at my videos. I've been talking so much shit about this dude. It was good to see him back in, like, you know, see him playing. I don't want him to have a secret plan. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him to have this secret plan, but it was fucking epic to see him just walk out of the shadows like that. Like, you knew the whole time, dude? Like, fuck, Jesus. That was good. That was really good planning. Thank you for that, Naira Kiwi. Let's see. And then we got another one from... I believe there was another one that just went through. And I'm almost through my notes. I have 3 more things that I want to talk about. And then we will be getting onto... chatting in the taking questions from the chat. All right, this is from Fred Wicks, and thank you, sir. And he says, you called wedding book. I called Cersei pregnant. You win. Did you really call Cersei being pregnant? That's a fuck of a prediction. How did you know that? Did you read the plot leak? But yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for that super chat. So then we have Jon Snow arriving in Eastwatch. He talks with Tormund, and it's funny because Tormund immediately asks about Brienne. He's like, to bring the big one with you. There are a lot of messages being deleted right now. I'm not sure what's going on in the chat, but hopefully we can get that figured out. It's almost like every single message is being deleted. That's crazy. But yeah, at Tormund, he asked about her, which lets me know that, you know, he's going to continue to ask about her, and maybe they'll end up together this season. Let's see. I still see 119 likes. I'm not really sure. I'm going to jump back on that. Okay, so we have 883 likes right now. Can we hit 1,000 likes? If we can, you know what? I'm gonna be super boisterous. I don't know if I use that word right. Can we hit 1,500 likes? There's 2,624 people rocking with me right now, which is fucking insane, and I'm glad y'all are being entertained. I hope you're being entertained. But can we get to 1,500 likes? Can we do that? Oh, and I see we just got a super chat from Matt Z, and he says, could Arya steal Littlefinger's face and take over the Vale? You know what has me worried? I don't think that could happen. Obviously, Arya could take anyone's face and do that, but I think if she continues down this path, and if she doesn't really think about, you know, if she jumps the gun and doesn't try to talk to Sansa about what was the real scenario that was happening when Sansa wrote that Raven, what if she kills Sansa and takes her face and rules as Queen of the North until Jon gets back? I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just saying, I don't really know. I don't trust Arya right now. I really don't. I trust her in the sense that she's one of my favorite characters, and she's a Stark, and I know she's not going to do anything to harm House Stark, intentionally, that is. But what if, like, what if she severely breaks, like, her and Sansa's relationship, and then she leaves? Arya leaves Winterfell or something and doesn't get to meet back with Jon. It's crazy. I don't know if I think Arya is going to kill Littlefinger. I don't think that Littlefinger's plan put Arya off of his path. If anything, she saw that he's sneaky and he's not to be trusted. Firsthand, she witnessed that. So if anything, his plan may work a little bit. They might come together. I think Bran is going to be the one that brings them, like, makes them heal. Obviously, Jon went straight to Eastwatch and he said, fuck going home to see the rest of my family. I thought he would go home and get, I don't know, maybe a good night's sleep, maybe some troops, you know, maybe say what's up to all of his family being in the same spot. But I don't know. I feel like Sansa, you know, Littlefinger could basically just damage Sansa and Arya's relationship, maybe beyond repair, until all of this big war is over. Then we have Jon Snow meeting with Sandor Clegane and the Brotherhood. Basically, Gendry immediately recognizes them, and I'm like, oh damn, Gendry, don't be a dick. I thought I was gonna regret being happy about Gendry and Jon's meeting, and then I was like, oh no, he didn't do it. He basically just said they aren't to be trusted. But everybody kind of doesn't trust each other, so it almost works in their favor. If Tormund and Jorah hadn't started going at it, maybe it would have been different, and maybe Jon would have listened to Gendry a little bit more. But I think because that happened, you know, Jon was more like, basically like, fuck it all. Beric ends up breaking up the tension between Jorah and Tormund. Sandor yells out, how about everybody shut the fuck up? Obviously, you know, Jon's like, yeah, we're all on the same side, and that side is the breeding side, the living side. Jon ends up setting them free, and they all end up heading north of the wall. And that is how the episode ends, with Jon Snow and all of his crew, the Brotherhood of the Companions, or his Azor Ahai crew. They are all going north of the wall. Their plan is to capture a WIGHT and to bring proof to the Seven Kingdoms that there is a threat of White Walkers coming. And I see we just got a super chat. Let me catch that real quick. Let me see where that was from. This is from UW7 Gaming, and he or she says, love your channel, always here, King of the North. Thank you very much. And there's another super chat. Oh man, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. This is from David Mark Zimmerman, and he says, "Fuck, marry, kill Tyrion, the Hound, Sir Davos." All of them are dudes, huh? Let's see. I mean, I don't want to kill none of these dudes, but if I had to make a choice, I guess we could kill Davos, maybe? Tyrion seems like he's got a gentle soul, so we'll fuck Tyrion. And then we'll marry the Hound, because he's a cool dude, and he likes chicken, and I like chicken too, so, you know, I guess we could bond over that. Thank you for asking me that awkward question, and more thank you, so for the super chat. That was a good one. That was the first time I ever got one of those. Like the one with the fuck, marry, kill thing. And this is another super chat from Lisa, thank you, and she says, "I call 3 women being pregnant. Everything happens in 3s. Cersei's kids are, there's 3 of them. Dragons, there's 3 of them. There's 3 queens. Cersei, Dany, and Sansa at some point. So like Cersei's pregnant now, and then Dany at Sansa at some point. I can see Dany getting pregnant from the boy Jon Snow's love. You know, they could have a love child. Sansa, possibly by Tyrion. I mean, I don't really know. One person I thought might become a love interest for Sansa would be Dolorous Ed, because they had that shared moment last season when when Jon Snow's about to get the pink letter, and basically Dolorous Ed tells Sansa, "Hey, look, we're not used to entertaining guests up here," and he's basically telling her the food's crap and he's sorry. So I thought that they could potentially share a moment. He gives her that look like, "I haven't seen anything as pretty as you." You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's insane. Oh shit, I didn't even notice these. Okay, so I got the PayPal donations that I need to answer some of those to. The PayPal, that's a one-time donation. If you didn't want to join Patreon or do it through Super Chat, you can click the link down below in the description. It's the one-time donation thing, and basically you can just donate through there. But I'm going to be answering everybody's questions. You don't have to donate to get a question answered. Let's see. Let me log in real quick to PayPal, and then I will get to see what questions those are. Let's see if we can hit that like goal. I see 1,000 likes right now. Let's see if we, sorry. Yeah, 1,000 likes. This is from Stephanie Carson, and she donated on PayPal, and she says, "Good job, and God bless." Well, thank you, Miss Stephanie. Thank you very much. And then we have another PayPal donation from Jared Davis, and there was no message attached to that, but thank you, sir. That's awesome. Thank you very, very much. Oh, crap, and then I just missed another super chat. Wait, I think I did. Did I? Okay, no, we're caught up. All right, cool. Okay, so yeah, I see 883 likes right now, 37 dislikes. Can we hit that goal of 1,500? Can we do that? Can y'all slap likes on this? We're about to go into the chat. So what I want you all to do right now, we still have 2,624 people watching right now. I want you all to type in the chat, hashtag Q&A, and then answer some questions. Let's get some questions flowing in. Let's see, I'm gonna pick a question. This is not in any particular order, I'm just picking a random one from the chat. Hey, you guys ever had a good Italian hoagie from Delco? I've had some really good hoagies and cold cuts up in Philly. From Delco in particular, I don't think so. Oh shit, we got a super chat from Corrupt Catalyst, and he or she says, "Drogon like Jon. Is he a writer? Who's the 3rd writer?" Tyrion Lannister. Fucking he bonded with the dragons last season. I want to see Tyrion hop on Viserion. You know, Viserion is, there's several different types of dragon. There's 3. You'll have a black dragon with reddish flakes. You'll have a gold dragon with like cream scales, and then you'll have a green dragon with, I think it's like a white color patterns. But I want Jon Snow to ride Rhaegal. Jon Snow definitely bonded, and Drogon for sure fucking sensed that he was dragon seed. Dragons can sense a Targaryen like they're Valyrian. It's in their blood. They've been dragon riders for centuries. Like literally when the Targaryens left, they had like Aegon used the last dragons to conquer Westeros. So that's like what the ancient Valyrians have been known for, being dragon riders. And so it's just, Jon Snow comes from a long line of those. He descends from Aegon the Conqueror, and so does Daenerys. So the fact that Drogon was letting Jon Snow pet him, he senses that Jon will potentially mount him. Maybe not him, maybe one of his brothers, you know, maybe, hopefully Rhaegal, maybe Viserion. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Looking for Q&A. Zach Rosner. Q&A. Tyrion is the third Targaryen. He's the only other person to interact with a dragon besides Jon and Dany. Dany's three-headed dragon pendant tonight displayed 2 heads with a third covered with blonde hair. I don't think that has something to do with it, but I used to be a fan of the theory that Tyrion was a secret Targaryen, but that's not the case. It just doesn't line up. The only place where that rumor originates is from World of Ice and Fire. The maester who's writing the World of Ice and Fire for King Tommen, basically when you're reading a World of Ice and Fire, it's written from a perspective of a certain maester, Maester Yandel, and he's writing the basically all of the knowledge, a condensed version of the knowledge of the Seven Kingdoms, a bit of here, a bit of this, a bit of that, and he's writing a book for Tommen. And in that book, he mentions how there's a rumor that Joanna Lannister, on her and Tywin's wedding night, King Mad Aerys, Daenerys' father, the Mad King Aerys, basically he took liberties with Joanna Lannister, who is Jaime, Cersei, and Tyrion's mother. And if that were the case, if he took liberties with her on their wedding night, which is the only like origin of the rumors, it was that he took liberties with her on their bed night. If that's the case, it would only make sense if it's Cersei and Jaime, because they were born several years before Tyrion was even born. So it doesn't make sense. The timing doesn't add up. And honestly, Tyrion doubly confirmed it tonight. He's like, I was put on this earth to be Tywin's bane. He mentions that he's like, all he thought I was here was to punish him for. He didn't love me as a son. He never did, you know. And Tyrion basically says, I couldn't help the fact that I was a dwarf. So it's almost like punishment by the gods for Tywin to teach Tywin some humility. And this is what the Mad King thought. The Mad King thought that Tyrion was Tywin's true son. Not that he thought, you know, maybe he did. I guess if he did bang Joanna, he could have known that Cersei and Jaime could potentially be his. But that's where that secret Targaryen comes from with the Lannisters. It only works for Jaime and for Cersei because Tyrion was born many years later. So that doesn't add up. Was there another part to that question? As far as there being a third dragon rider, though, I do think that he could potentially be the third dragon rider. I think the main reason being is because he's been obsessed with dragons his whole life. He's thought about it, and maybe that would allow the dragon to bond with him in that sense. Traditionally, you have to be of dragon seed to ride a dragon, though. Like, during the Dance with Dragons, Targaryen Civil War, during the Blackfyre Rebellions, usually all of that you hear riding dragons are either Targaryens, Blackfyres, or bastards of Targaryens. So you have houses like House Valerion. They're like certain houses of people that are dragon descended or dragon seed can ride dragons. Let's see. Another Q&A. I think I missed a super chat, which I need to go back and see. I need to get on those. I'm gonna pull up YouTube real quick, and I have them listed. If I go into my YouTube Creator Studio, and then I go to live stream, I can see all of the super chats. All right, give me 1 second. It's super laggy right now. I'm not sure why that is. All right, hang on 1 second. I just want to make sure I'm catching these. Okay, so yes, I did mix one, and it was from New Zealand or Toodle YNZ. Sorry about that. He says, can faceless men wear more than one face? For example, the waif was wearing Arya's face. I don't think Arya's secretly the waif, but it is possible for them to wear many faces, because when Jaqen was having his faces pulled off, he ended up being Arya at the end after she pulled off many other faces. So that is definitely possible for faceless men to wear more than one face. And I got another super chat from him, and he says, you did miss my super chat. For that, I do humbly apologize, sir. I did not mean to do that. Thank you for your super chat donations. Then we have another one from Matt Z, the boy, and he says, who will Bran warg into next? Do you mean what? Who? Like, if you're talking about humans, I don't know. I think the next humanoid creature that I see him warging into is a white, or potentially even a White Walker. You know, I don't know if anyone else, because, you know, he was able to warg Hodor, who was a living person. But Hodor was also simple-minded the first time he warged Hodor. And the second time he warged him, he was in the past, and ultimately in the Weirwood net. So it is a little bit more advanced to warg Hodor because he was younger and his mind wasn't simple, you know. But also, he was also in a big Weirwood net, so I would think that his powers would be amplified a bit. So I don't know if he can actually warg a human per se, where he's like that incredible of a person where he could just take over the mind of Jon or take over the mind of Arya. But I do think that potentially one of the next humanoid type creatures that he could warg could potentially be maybe a White Walker or a White, you know? Or maybe even a dragon. Dragons have the intelligence of humans, but maybe it would be a little bit more easier for Bran to warg them. I feel like, you know, when you warg something, you can only do it for a certain amount of time, because basically that person who you warged into, their soul, or the creature of that animal, the soul of that animal that you warged, or the person, they eventually tend to fight back, and you can lose yourself in that, so you can be stuck in that forever. This is from Prodigy Sniper, and thank you, sir. He says, "Can you turn off chat? Episode 6 and 7 was leaked." No, I can't. I can't turn off the chat, but I did not know that. I do have mods working right now, and mods, if you see anyone talking about any kind of spoilers for season 6 or 7, please do not hesitate to ban them. You know, if it's like a mild spoiler where it could be their prediction, then put them in a timeout. But if they are legit just posting spoilers in the chat, please ban them. I'm looking at the chat on my phone, and it's going super slow, so I haven't seen anyone personally doing that. And then we have a super chat from Fred Wicks. Thank you, sir. And he says, "Even though I called Cersei pregnant last stream, I don't believe it. The witch fortune teller predicted only 3 children unless she dies before giving birth." Now, I kind of agree with you on that. I think that she could be just baiting Jaime. She could have saw that Jaime was losing all faith in her through his facial expressions, because Nikolaj Coster-Waldau is that good of an actor that he can project himself on screen to make his facial reactions do a certain thing and make us think a certain way, and he doesn't even have to say any words. Anthony Hopkins is also an incredible actor who can do such the same thing. So I do think that she could potentially be baiting Jaime into basically still having faith in her. So let's say, you know, I'm Jaime Lannister, I'm losing all faith in Cersei, but I'm pregnant. Okay, I have some more faith in you. So, you know, I don't know if she really is pregnant, although they did just have sex. You know what I mean? And honestly, I feel like it could happen. You know, I don't want to get into it, but you know, there's some plot leak stuff. But thank you for that super chat. Okay, let's take one from the chat. Let's see, we got Q&A. Y'all notice that in season 1, when Jon and Sam are scrubbing tables in Castle Black and discussing how Jon would never want his... Where did that go? I totally just lost that chat. Or that Q&A. Can you retype that? And I'll try to get back to that one. Let's see, Q&A. Did you see Jaime's face when Cersei said, "Don't ever betray me again"? That's when he knew he was going to kill her. And I can't wait to see the Night King's face, like this motherfucker again. With Jon Snow. Hell yeah, I can't wait to see it either. He already did it. He basically did, "Come at me, Snow." Like, he raised his arms. He was like, "I can do this with the flick of my wrist. Look at the flick of the wrist." Like, yeah, it was sick. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that look that he gave her, I kind of think that was just like, he doesn't really feel like he betrayed her. She thinks he did, but he didn't say, "Hey, I want to parlay with Tyrion." It was brought up on him. And then also she's saying like, "Oh, Bron needs to be punished." When honestly, Bron is one of Jaime's closest allies. And if he did do something, I mean, if she did do something to hurt Bron, maybe that would push Jaime further away, even though the fact that she's pregnant. You know what I mean? But I feel like Jaime would try to stick his neck out for Bron. I would hope to believe that. As far as the Night King seeing Jon Snow again, hell yeah, I cannot wait to that either. Oh, we got a super chat from Jeremiah Marinique, and he says, "How do you think Bran will be able to warg into Zombie Hodor due to their previously established connection?" Wait, do you think Bran will be able to warg? Oh, okay, so retake White Hodor? I think it's possible for Bran to warg a White. So with that being said, it's definitely possible for him to warg a White Hodor. I don't think Bran would think that quickly. Although, who knows? Bran's not going to be on the battlefield. But I wonder if it's possible for Bran to warg into a crow and then warg into another animal from that crow without going back to his own mind. So let's say Bran is warging the crows get warded off, but before they get warded off by the Night King, Bran jumps into another warg, and one of that warg that time is one of the whites. You know, that's possible. But I do think that if Bran saw a white Hodor, I think he would physically not know how to react. Like, Bran's emotionless, but I think that would make some of those memories come rushing back. The fact that Hodor, this person who's done nothing but care for this dude and drag him around for, you know, several seasons, is coming back into the fray as a white. And it's ultimately his fault. Like, he had to do it, you know, to obviously save himself and Mira, but, you know, it's his fault. So I think that may potentially make him show some kind of remorse, and we might see a little bit of feeling from Bran, and he won't be like so emotionally void. Let's see. We have 1,000 likes. Oh shit, we hit the goal. Can we hit 1,500? Can we hit 1,500 likes? We've held steady with over 2,000 people watching us. That's fucking, you guys are fucking amazing, and you're really blowing my mind right now. Let me look over here and see if there are any anything that I missed in the chat. Let's see, Q&A. What will Euron say when he finds out Cersei is pregnant? Now that leads me into a little theory that I will touch on a little bit, but ultimately not too much, just for the simple fact that I plan on doing a theory video on it. What if, when Jaime was gone, right? What if Cersei got word that Jaime had died, and she confided in Euron? Now this is, I forgot to say, put your tinfoil hats on. What if it's long story short, what if it's Euron's baby? What if it's secretly Euron's baby, and she's just baiting Jaime by telling him that it's his? And then if Jaime dies, she'll tell Euron that it's his. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think that, what would Cersei have to offer him if she is deciding to have Jaime's baby? Did she not think that far? Did she not think that Euron will immediately become her enemy? This could make Euron try to make an alliance with Daenerys. It could potentially lead Euron into seeking an alliance with Daenerys. Or Euron just goes batshit insane and he starts attacking Westeros since it's in chaos right now, and he starts claiming shit for the Iron Islands. I don't really know. You know, only time will tell. That's one of those things where it's like, you can't really predict where it's going with that. Q&A. How big are Viserion and Rhaegal? Well, Drogon is the size of a 747. So if Drogon is that big, then we'd say let's say they're relatively close to that. Like, maybe they're the size of like a private jet. I think they're close to Drogon's size. I'm not exactly sure the exact measurements, but I will say that shot of Daenerys, when it pans out and Daenerys is giving her speech and we see Drogon full on and he whips his wings when he lets out that screech, he looks fucking massive. He looks huge. So I will say that you know, maybe 50 feet, 50 to 75 feet long, at least, maybe 200-foot wingspan. I'm not really sure, like bird measurements and stuff. I'm not really good with bird law. That was my Charlie impression. Do you guys watch It's Always Sunny? I wanted to do this. I was actually warming up vocally. Like, I try to make sure my voice, that's why I project well. Like, you can hear me very well through this mic because I project. But I vocally, I warm up before I started. And I'll just do it for 3 seconds. I won't talk about it anymore. Dayman, oh, fighter of the night, man. Oh, champion of the sun. You're a master of karate and friendship for everyone. Alright, that's all I got. Dayman! But yeah, it's a great show. Go watch it. I will be doing some videos on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia coming up. Oh my gosh. Alright, so yeah, to answer your, you know, I'm not really sure how big Rhaegal and Viserion are, but I can assume they're 75% the size of Drogon. And if Drogon's the size of a 747, they're 75% the size of a 747. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, please smash that like button. Q&A. Y'all noticed that in season 1? Okay, so this was that question that I lost earlier. Q&A. Y'all noticed that in season 1, when Jon and Sam are scrubbing tables in Castle Black and discussing how Jon would never want his kids to be bastards, the initial RL are carved into the walls. For fuck's sake. Yes, I did notice that. That's one of those old school mysteries. It's like, what made me pay attention in that scene, because I noticed that before I even started a YouTube channel. One of the first things that made me go and look on YouTube for Game of Thrones videos was the fact that there's this mystery behind Jon Snow's parentage. So when I started watching in 2014, I was like, what the fuck? There's all these different mysteries of it. So then I went on YouTube and I actually found Emergency Awesome. I found his channel. Like when you go to YouTube and you type in Game of Thrones, and this was season 5, you know, his were the first videos that showed up. So I found his videos, and I found a video that he did on R+L=J. And when I was rewatching, you know, during that process, one of the things that I noticed was it was weird how they were using like this baking soda shit and they were scrubbing it into the table and they were using that to clean it. And I was like, that makes no fucking sense to me. So, you know, I went back on YouTube and started finding more, and that's when I, you know, saw that. I thought it was, honestly, I thought it was just like a right beam, left beam or some type of shit. Like the people that were designing Castle Black, I thought it was like the beam structures they would know, you know, like, or maybe the person who built that like just left their initials somehow. But yeah, that is some fucking long thought out foreshadowing. John R+L=J confirmation. And annulment. Hashtag can you fucking believe the annulment? Oh shit, we got a super chat. This is from Michael Edwards. Thank you, sir. And he says maybe the Night King will be the third rider. Thank you for the super chat, but I hope not. I fucking hope not. Are you talking about the damn ice dragon? Oh man, technically he could be the third rider, but who would? Ah, that would suck. That is a nice twist to the 3 heads of the dragon. But I feel like he wouldn't fulfill that prophecy. He could be the third dragon rider, but usually that stems from the 3 heads of the dragon, and the 3 heads of the dragon are definitely referring to Daenerys and Jon. That third head in the books could be Fagon, but it could also be Tyrion for the TV show. So, you know, that's where that three heads of the dragon, 3 dragon riders, that's where that stems from. So I don't know if he would be considered the third dragon rider, but it is possible for this man to mount and ride a fucking dragon. But I don't think he's a third dragon rider. Once again, thank you, Michael Edwards, for that super chat. Let's see, Q&A. Everybody type Q&A into the chat if you would like me to answer your question. Let's see. Q&A, will someone die beyond the wall? I'm thinking Tormund. I think Jorah could die. I think that's why his send-off was the way he was. Like, why did we get that little shit added in? Obviously, it was for, you know, to show that Tyrion and Jorah bonded when they were sold into slavery very shortly for a few episodes. It was funny when Tyrion was bringing that up. Missandei was like, oh yeah, and how many years were you a slave? And he was like, that's besides the point. Like, yeah. But no, he gave Jorah that slave coin that was used to buy their freedom with. So I feel like that little thing could have been added in there, and I think that Jorah, the only reason why he went beyond the wall north with Jon is to test his character and see what makes him who he is. So that leads me into thinking that, you know, Jorah could potentially die north beyond the wall. I would hope that it wouldn't be Tormund, honestly, because Tormund, we haven't seen him all season. We saw him once in the first episode, for very shortly. We saw him interact with Brienne a little bit, and then, you know, we haven't seen him until now, and there's only 2 episodes left. So we know he's going to be featured heavily in episode 6, and I haven't even watched the promo for episode 6 yet. I was literally that crazed by this episode that I haven't even done that. So maybe we can watch that in a bit together. Maybe we can watch that together. I just said that. But yeah, so my predictions for who will die beyond the wall. Once again, I have not seen the promo for episode 6, so if it's blatant that someone dies in that promo, I'm sorry, but I think it will be Jorah. I think Jorah will potentially die beyond the wall. Let's see. Q&A, what do you think okay, not answering that. Q&A, how was the Night King able to stop Bran while he was warging in the Ravens? I think it's like, you know how Bloodraven was able to pull Bran out of the warg? Like, when Bran wanted to stay longer and watch his young Ned, young Lyanna Stark, young Benjen, and he wanted to stay there and watch his family longer. What did Bloodraven do? He pulled him out of the warg. So I think it's that same idea. It's like the Night King is obviously a more powerful green seer than Bran is at this moment. So he's able to forcibly remove him from a warg state. Just the same, similar to the way that Bloodraven / Three-Eyed Raven was able to do. He was able to forcibly remove Bran from warging because his powers are greater than Bran's. So I think that that's how he was pushed out. Thank you, Maria Pena. She is on it. I'm gonna go ahead and, can I make you a mod from here? Let me see if I can do that. Alright, well, there are several people that I will be making mod after this live stream. Let's see. Q&A. Y'all noticed that in season 1 when... Okay, wait. I already got that one. Matt Z, super chat from Matt Z, and he says, you working on the Dennis system? So that is a little, it's Always Sunny reference. That is, the Dennis system is basically like you basically torture a chick to the point where she wants to, you know, in all actuality, you torture her till she wants to have nothing to do with you. But in Dennis's fucked up mind, he sees that it makes them fall madly in love with him. So, yeah, that was a Dennis. That was an It's Always Sunny reference. Appreciate that, Matt Z. Let's see, getting to some Q&As here. Q&A, do you think that Littlefinger is going to die? The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. I think Littlefinger's gonna die. I kind of want to see his plans blow up in his face, so I want him to survive for a wee bit longer, but ultimately I think he will be dying by the end of this season. The only reason why I want him to live for a little bit longer, to see his plans come to fruition, to see if he's able to successfully manipulate the Stark sisters, is because I have to give him props. I hate this motherfucker, and in every single one of my videos, I've been on YouTube for over a year now, in every single one of them, I make some sort of insult to Littlefinger. And in my 5th video of last season, when I was reviewing it, I thought it would be funny if I mispronounced his name and just called him Littlefucker, and I've been doing it ever since then. So people tend to hate Littlefinger too because they think that joke's funny. But Littlefucker, he's proven himself pretty wise. He knew that Arya was following him. He basically set the entire thing up. Like, he knew from the get-go. And honestly, Arya kind of screwed herself over with that because she basically made it known that she doesn't fuck with this dude through one look. Through one look. When last episode, when Littlefinger was looking down at Sansa and Brienne fighting, or sorry, Arya and Brienne fighting, Sansa had walked away, Littlefinger was left there, and he looks at Arya, and he does this bow. But that look that Arya gives him is like, the first chance I get, I will fuck you up. Like, I will literally drop you, you know? Oh man, so yeah. Let's see, Q&A. Could the third dragon rather be the Golden Company leader if it was a Blackfire? So you're referring to Aegon / Fagon. Now, it is possible, although, however unlikely, it is technically possible that Aegon and Jon Connington, or just Aegon, which is supposedly... Okay, so apparently, when Tywin Lannister was let into the gates of King's Landing, and the Mountain raped, killed, and murdered Rhaegar Targaryen's wife and children, supposedly baby Aegon was saved. Varys was supposed to remove Aegon and then have him sent away. So it was like basically a fake baby that was killed by having its head dashed against the wall. So in the books, this person grows up being raised by one of Rhaegar Targaryen's best friends, Jon Connington, and he makes Fagon die. His name is Aegon, but I call him Fagon, and most people that read the books don't believe he's a true Targaryen. We believe he's a Blackfire because he's working with the Golden Company, but amongst other reasons. A lot of people think Varys is a secret Blackfire, so him and Illyrio Mopatis work together to like help secure the Blackfire line, and basically he's supporting Aegon secretly. But anyway, Aegon is being raised by Rhaegar's best friend, and damn, I lost thought of the question. Basically, so yeah, so this person was asking if it's possible for Fagon to show up as the leader of the Golden Company. Now, I feel like if this was going to happen, you know, technically in the Dance with Dragons, the Golden Company has hit the shores of Westeros, and Jon Connington and Aegon are present with him, and Jon Con actually has grayscale, so Jorah got a bit of his role on the TV show. It is possible for Aegon to be brought into the fray this late, but if Aegon shows up with the Golden Company, I expect to see Lady fucking Stoneheart walk from around that corner, because it's like, oh man, it should have been so long ago. Like, so long ago. This is we got a super chat from Matt Z. He says, popular questions. Where the fuck is Ghost, and what are Littlefinger's plans? Ghost is in safe place right now. Like, he's literally off the show so that he doesn't get killed off. So I want to see him. You want to see him. We all want to see him. But let's just be happy that he hasn't been on the show, because there is some sort of scenario in which he would have been mutilated or killed at this point. Like, he probably went to Eastwatch with Jon Snow. Who's to say Ghost isn't already at Eastwatch? What makes y'all think that? I guarantee you, Ghost could potentially... I just said I guarantee you, and then I said potentially. But Ghost could be at... Ghost could be at Eastwatch by the Sea, and then he shows up just like everybody wants him to, and then he gets killed by the fucking White Walkers. Like, Jon Snow loses his direwolf, and all he has left are dragons. So he's going to be forced to have a familiar in a dragon. A familiar, if you play RPG games, you know what I'm talking about. If not, it's basically this pet that follows you around and occasionally helps you blow shit up. So if Jon Snow loses Ghost and everybody gets their wish and we finally get to see Ghost on screen and then Ghost dies at Eastwatch, we'll all feel like assholes, because that's what could potentially happen. So I hope Ghost is settled in a warm cave underneath the Crypts of Winterfell, and he's sniffing around, and he'll end up dragging Rhaegar's harp upstairs or some shit. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm glad that we don't see Ghost. And to answer your second question, what Littlefinger's plans are, I really don't know that either. He obviously plans on putting the Stark sisters against each other, and he ultimately thinks that he can shatter their relationship, and maybe Arya will storm off and leave so that he's free to manipulate Sansa with no one opposing him. He forgot about Bran. So, you know, I think that his plans may work out a little bit, but it will ultimately bring the Stark sisters closer together, because they'll finally say what they want to say, what they've been holding back. You know, Arya started to do that when she saw that, in her opinion, Sansa wasn't defending Jon. But honestly, Sansa was acting on Jon's behalf, because Jon would have done the same thing. He would have snuffed it out and not done anything to punish them. Obviously, they wouldn't have done it if Jon was there. But if the situation was reversed and they were just doing... Jon wouldn't have killed them. Jon would have tried to put them back in their place the same way Sansa did. So in Arya's mind, Sansa isn't doing her job properly, but she doesn't know who Jon Snow is. She honestly doesn't know anything about Jon Snow. She just knows that he's her brother. She doesn't know who he is. And if she did know who Jon Snow is, then she would be on Sansa's side in the fact that, no, you should not fucking behead some of your greatest allies. Basically, the entire 90% of your army, behead them just because they got impatient with Jon Snow. Not behead the entire army. She wasn't saying to do that. She was saying to behead Jon Royce and Lord Glover. Honestly, I wouldn't be too sad if Lord Glover got it, because like I said, he was the first motherfucker they went to, and he was the first one to turn them down. And he actually could have made a difference if his men were there. But maybe they'll be the first ones killed, you know, when the White Walkers come. Let's see. Q&A. I want to know... Where was that? It was something about Varys. Any possibility of another incest sex scene between Jaime and Cersei? I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what's about. It could be. I didn't think we'd ever see that, but we saw like a blowjob and then, you know, side boob from Lena Headey's stand-in. So I don't know. It's possible, I guess. Oh shit, we got a super chat. Y'all are loading them super chats up. That is fucking what's up. I don't make much from ad revenue on YouTube, but y'all doing these super chats and these PayPal donations are what make it possible for me to do this. That's fucking awesome. Obviously, everyone that watches my videos makes it possible. But I'm just saying, it's awesome that I'm at the level where I can have people, you know, it's amazing. Okay, so this is from Adrian, Joan Nides, I think I said that right. Sorry if I butchered it. It says, Q&A, please. What do you think of the theory that Bloodraven is Bran Stark from the future? Now, this has been a very popular theory ever since last year. You know, I will say that it is ironic that in the novels, Brandon Rivers is Bloodraven, and, you know, like Bran for short, and then, you know, you have Bran Stark, and then you also have a crippled Bran the Builder from back in the day. So those do line up, but honestly, I think Bran is Bran Stark. And yes, he's technically Brandon Rivers because Brendan Rivers, sorry. You know, I just think Bran is who he is. I don't think that it's possible for him to travel back in time and then, you know, help build the wall by working into Bran the Builder, and he could be all the other Brans from back in that time period. I just don't think that that's the case. He could be Bran Snow even, you know, the one who wanted to use a weirwood arrow to kill a dragon. I just don't think that fits in on the show. I think the main thing that works for the TV show is that if he's just Brandon Stark, who now has the ability to see everything, so he's no longer Brandon Stark at this point, but I think he's ultimately Bran Stark. A theory like that could work out more so in the books because George can go more in depth and explain it more, and it would make more sense. It's a really popular theory, and I think if they were going to make it like a thing on the TV show, they should have started laying seeds for that. Like, they should show us one of Bran's flashbacks, which we have not seen at all this season. 5 episodes deep, 2 episodes left, and we haven't seen not one near damn Bran flashback. We got another super chat from Matt Z, and I'm gonna hop back in the chat to get some questions from the chat as well. But Matt Z says, what's that shirt made of? Looks comfy as hell. I don't know. Let me see. hang on 1 second. I'll tell you in a second, sir. Let's see. 55% cotton, 32% polyester, and then 30% viscose. I'm not sure if that's in another language or if yeah. So mainly cotton. But it's a sleeveless shirt. I actually meant to put on my fucking House Targaryen shirt, but I was so excited I just had to get on here and start talking to y'all. Excuse me for getting naked on screen. Oh, we got another super chat. This is from K-Boss and KXC Productions. Thank you all. And he or she says, what is Jon's real name and how do you think this season ends? Those are awesome questions. Jon Snow's real name, in my opinion, should be Aemon Targaryen. And I actually just did a video on this earlier, which you can go check it out right now. But basically, I think that, you know, Aemon Targaryen was known to have corresponded with Rhaegar. Him and Rhaegar were close. So in the letters that they sent to each other, you know, there could be something listed about how Jon Snow's parentage could have been, you know, maybe he told Aemon what happened, and that's why Aemon initially looked out for Jon, because he knew he was Targaryen, and he never got a chance to tell him because he died. But also, there's a scene in the books, in one of Jon Snow's POV chapters earlier on. I think it's in A Feast for Crows. Might be Storm of Swords. I'm not really sure. But basically, he remembers this time when him and Bran, sorry, him and Robb are playing down in the Crypts of Winterfell. Robb says, I'm Florian the Fool, and Jon Snow says, I'm Aemon the Dragon Knight. So it's almost like a little bit of foreshadowing there, as Jon Snow's pretending to be one of the greatest Targaryen superheroes, or one, I guess they would be a superhero, one of the greatest Targaryen heroes from Targaryen history, and that could be his name. You know what I mean? And also, since Rhaegar and Aemon were close, it would also make sense that Rhaegar would name Aemon after someone he was close with, a member of his family. A lot of people think that Jon's Targaryen name is just Jon because he could be named after Jon Connington, which is Rhaegar's best friend in the books. So if Jon Connington were going to be a character, and let's say they introduced him with the Golden Company, then Jon's Targaryen name could be Jon. Supposedly this leaked a while back, but it was that his name was supposed to be Jaehaerys, and it was kind of like just casually mentioned in this article that was released online before season 7 started. So I don't necessarily believe that, but if that is the case, we have Jaehaerys, and that would make sense because Rhaegar would want to pick a name like Jaehaerys because Jaehaerys the Conciliator was one of the greatest Targaryen kings ever. He basically is up there with Aegon the Conqueror. So he, like, literally, he was known as Jaehaerys the Conciliator because he ended and resolved a lot of different things throughout the kingdom. So it would make sense that Rhaegar would want to name his child after someone who would do that. And let's face it, that's what Jon Snow is doing. Jon Snow is a conciliator. He's bringing together all different types of people. You know, he even did it in this episode. He brought together the Brotherhood with Gendry. And obviously, they're not on speaking terms yet, but he's bringing them together. He's bringing wildlings together. I wish he had took some fucking Dothraki with him. I just wish they did, because then you could see them. They crossed the narrow sea and they went north of the wall. They're almost fucking Westerosi. All they got to do is start fucking their siblings, and then they'll be full on Westerosi. So no, I wish some Dothraki could have went with them, because then ultimately we would have had Jon Snow being even more of a conciliator. And then the second part of that question was, how do I think it will end, if I'm not mistaken? I think season 7 will end. I think we're going to get the battle for Eastwatch next episode. I'm not really sure because, like I said, I haven't watched the preview yet, but I think season 7 can end hopefully on, you know, Jon Snow bringing that proof back from north of the wall and meeting with Cersei, Daenerys, and, you know, all those good folks, and shows them, hey, look, this is the real fucking threat. These zombies are a real thing. So that's how I want it to end. I will be hopping back in the chat for in a second for the Q&As, but let's see. I don't want to miss this. We got a super chat from Michael Edwards, and he says Jaime kills Cersei and becomes Azor Ahai. I mean, that's a stretch. That's not even tinfoil. You have to put on your tinfoil cap and then begin to cook up a pot of crackpottedness. You know what I mean? Like, that's, but thank you for the super chat. I think that Jaime could kill Cersei. And I think that Jaime could, technically, it could be argued that he was born amidst salt and smoke underneath the battlefield of the Field of Fire. But almost every character can be argued that they were born underneath salt and smoke. I do not think that Jaime fits the Azor Ahai prophecy, because I do not think that Jaime was the prince / princess that was promised. I think it would make me even believe it a little bit more if Jaime was an actual prince, you know? But he isn't. Jon Snow is. Daenerys is a princess. Well, she's a queen, and Jon Snow is a king, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I do like that theory, though. That would be dope if it turned out that way. Honestly, I don't think Cersei is going to die. I think that Cersei will be one of the last people that is surviving in Westeros. We got a super chat from Jeremiah, and he says Sir Hunt is now stripping for subscribers. Hey, if we get up to 1900 and or 19,000, or sorry, if we get up to 20,000 subscribers in this live stream tonight, which it is possible because we have 2,193 people watching right now, and I know half of y'all aren't subscribed to me. You're waiting for that moment. Go ahead and click that. What's the like goal? What? How many likes do we have on this video? We have 1,000 likes. Can we hit 2,000 likes? Can we get up to 2,000 likes? But as far as stripping for subscribers, hey, I mean, fucking, that's where I don't got nothing to hide. I mean, shit. That could be arranged. And I think I missed a super chat as well. Hang on 1 second, and then I will be jumping in the chat. It's $2 from Lisa, and she said Mark just sewed boobies. Yes, I did. One more time. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. All right. Oh, that was a crazy scream, dude. What the? Calm down. It's this Mountain. Y'all want to know how I'm so energetic? It's not cocaine. I don't do cocaine. But it is Mountain Dew, Black Label. It's like, you know, got some like real sugar in it, like sugar cane. So it'll get you through what you need to do. All right. So jumping in the chat here. Let's see Q&A. Will Jon and Dany hook up? Probably. I think that's what we're leaning towards. Like, there's several moments where they look back at each other. There's several moments when Daenerys says Jon Snow that sexy type way that Ygritte said it. Jon Snow, you know. So I think that's what they're leaning towards. And honestly, plot leak, you know, it looks more and more like that's what's gonna be happening. So to answer your question, yes, I do think Jon and Daenerys will be hooking up. There's a glitch. If your message is being deleted in chat and it does not contain any spoilers, please don't get upset. It's a glitch. There's something going on with YouTube where YouTube is deleting the messages. I think the problem is that I didn't put it on slow chat, so it's filtering out some messages that are being repeated. I need to go back and work on the settings for that. I can't do it right now because it will mess it up, but please do not get upset. Just try to send your question back in, and I'll try to get it. Like I said, I do apologize for that. That's some kind of glitch, and that's on YouTube's end. Let's see, Q&A. Do you think the Night King was a Stark before the Children of the Forest made him? I do believe that he was a Northernman. I do also believe that he's a Stark, yes. I think, you know, if you relate stuff from the novels and you look at the Kings of Winter having to have iron swords laid across them when they're underneath buried in the Crypts of Winterfell to keep their souls from awakening, I do think that can tell you. You know, and honestly, you have this similar story now with Jon Snow being from the north and seeking out Daenerys. It's almost like if you take in book mystery, like if you have the 13th Lord Commander and his Night's Queen, you know, that can be argued that that's similarly what's going on now. It's just like complete opposites of that. So I think that it's possible that the Starks being descended from ice can be descended from ice magic. So, you know, they worshipped the old gods of the north, the many nameless gods, old gods of the north, and so did the Children of the Forest. We also have it confirmed on the TV show that the Children of the Forest created the White Walkers. That person was wearing Northernman garb. It would just make sense that the first White Walker was a Northernman and predominantly being from House Stark. So yes, I do think that the first White Walker could potentially be a Stark. Q&A. Sansa will see right through Littlefinger's ploy off screen. Arya and Sansa will plan to look like they're fighting on screen, but then they will kill Littlefinger with one of Arya's faces for surprising viewers. Thoughts? That would be awesome. It would also, you know, it would kind of throw sand on Littlefinger's parade party. What if Arya was playing him? So that's what you're saying, like basically Arya was playing him, like she knew that he knew he was looking at her watching, and then, you know, I don't know, that would be nuts. I think that would definitely work for that shock factor, because I know I wouldn't be expecting that. Oh, we got a super chat from Peter the Noble. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. He says, Jon petting Drogon. Wow. Q&A, was Dany a little concerned for Jon's safety going beyond the wall? Hell yes, bro. Like, that's initially why she says, I haven't given you permission to leave. You know what I mean? She kind of, everyone in that moment seems worried that Jon, being a king, wants to go and do something that most would consider foot soldier work. But Jon Snow showing even more, like, look, I will fucking get down and get dirty. Just like how Daenerys said, I will get down and get dirty, and she hopped on Drogon and flew off to war. Jon is the same. Jon will fight next to, you know, someone who socially and economically would be considered lower than him. So, you know, Jorah says he's going, and Jon's like, well, fuck it, you know, I'm going too. So, honestly, I think that, yes, she was frightened because she's looking at Jon as like a mate. Tyrion told her, you need to look for someone to get married. It just so happens that Jon is one of the first Lords of Westeros to show up, and he metaphorically bent the knee. So I think that Daenerys is looking out for Jon in that aspect. Thank you for that super chat, Peter. Let's see. We got another super chat from Fred Wicks. Thank you, sir. And he said, Sir Pounce, third Dragon Rider. Please subscribe, y'all. Yes, please go ahead and subscribe. We're almost at 19,500. So let's see if we can hit that goal for tonight, and let's also see if we can get to 2,000 likes. We've stayed steady at over 2,000 people watching tonight, so I think y'all can do it. I think y'all can do it. Thank you so much for watching me and allowing me to entertain y'all. As far as your question, Sir Pounce being the third Dragon Rider, I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that it would be funny if we saw a cat the next time we went underneath the Red Keep, and then someone's like, ooh, Sir Pounce. We did get the still rowing fan service, because come on, that's exactly what that was. He goes, I thought you'd still be rowing. Like, that's what we were all thinking. We thought you'd still be rowing too, motherfucker. That's crazy. So yeah, that thing that's deleting chats, it's happening again. But this is one of them. It's from Sam Flanagan. It says, Sir Hunt, you know Cersei is going to play her child into the prophecy now that she's pregnant, right? Play her child as the prince that was promised prophecy? Or you mean the Maggie the Frog prophecy? Maggie, I think that Cersei may either be lying about having that kid, or she'll get killed before she actually has it, because the Maggie the Frog, everything she said has proven itself. Minus the part of little brother will strangle you, but that's not hasn't been mentioned on the show. Everything that she said in the prophecy on the TV show has fulfilled itself. She said that Cersei will have 3 children. She said that Robert would have many. So, you know, I think it could be possible that she could die before she has that child, or she's just lying about it. Let's see. Q&A. Dany burned the Tarleys alive instead of beheading them. Does Dany have a little bit of Mad King in her, and she will unleash it on King's Landing at some point? I don't think so. I think she... You know, it's almost like Ned. Like, the first time I meet Ned Stark, he beheads Night's Watchmen who deserted the Night's Watch. And we saw firsthand what those Night's Watchmen saw. No one else had seen that, but Ned still ultimately swung that sword, and he carried through with what the laws are. If any other person was conquering Westeros, they would not be nice. Like, Daenerys doesn't want to put people in chains. She's done that. She's freed people from chains. She doesn't have that. And she says if that's known that it will be an option to do so, then, you know, other people are going to try to do that. It's almost like if Ned had let that Night's Watchman dude survive and then maybe go back to Castle Black under escort of him or something, then all the other Night's Watchmen would start to desert the Night's Watch. So no, he had to go through with that, just like Daenerys had to go through with killing them. Do I think that she should have? Not necessarily, but she's doing what any other person who was invading Westeros would do. She's following basically the laws of the land, because that's how Westeros is. Those who carry out those who swing the sentence must carry the sword. Those who carry the sentence, I don't even fucking know, but Ned says it best. Those who, if you cast judgment on someone, you must carry that judgment out yourself. Q&A, do you think whites can kill Jorah even though he was cured with dragonglass? Jorah wasn't actually cured with dragonglass. Jorah was cured with a poultice. It was basically just herbs from your cabinet. Regular old shit. It looked like oatmeal, but there was no dragonglass involved in that. And no, I do not think that means he can't be killed. I think that it would be interesting if Jon Snow was killed. He can't be brought back by the Night King because Jon Snow was saved by fire magic, and he was technically a fire white. So the only thing that could potentially bring Jon Snow back to life wouldn't be ice magic, would be more fire magic. So I think that has something to do with it. And I also don't think that the Night King can be killed with regular dragonglass and Valyrian steel. For one, because he has dragonglass embedded in his chest. Oh, we got a super chat from George Kobach Hidze, and he says, Q&A, sorry for butchering your name. It says, Q&A, will Cersei pull Red Wedding 2 on Dany? Also been following since episode 1. Good luck on going full time, homie. Hope your channel goes big time too. Well, first off, thank you for that. I really do appreciate all that support. So yeah, I had mentioned in one of my last live streams that once I reach 20,000 subscribers, I would basically be putting my job on the back burner and only working 2 to 3 days a week and occasionally picking up a shift whenever I needed to. But ultimately, for the next few months, I want to try going full-time on YouTube. And that means 4 to 5 videos a week and also expanding into other content, meaning DC Marvel movies, anime, some of my favorite TV shows like It's Always Sunny and The Office. Also, you know, just like horror movies, all that kind of stuff. I want to include all of that, but still consistently make Game of Thrones videos. So ultimately, I would be putting out, like, let's say 3 to 4 Game of Thrones videos, but occasionally slipping in a video of some different kind of content that's just kind of just pure fun for me to make the video. So I do appreciate that support. And thank you for that well wishes. But to answer your question, will Cersei pull the Red Wedding 2 on Dany? So basically, what do you mean, like, show up at Jon and Daenerys' wedding? I don't know. I do think that, you know, I think it's possible, and this is biased because I've read the plot leak, so I do think it's possible that, you know, Cersei could ultimately try to betray this agreement that she made with Jaime. Like, I don't think that she's going to back down. She obviously said she wouldn't, so I think that that's going to be the main goal there. I don't think that she will pull the Red Wedding Part 2. I think that would have to involve her, like, infiltrating Jon and Daenerys' wedding, if they do get wedding. If they do get married, I don't know if they'll be married until after the Battle for Dawn, if they both survive that. Oh, we got another super chat and scrolling for another question. This is from Maya Tuttle. And she says, do you think Jorah is going to die? Yes, I do. I think Jorah is going to die beyond the wall. The reason being is because, you know, the slave coin from Braavos that Tyrion gave him, and also the fact that, you know, he was basically, it was a very heartfelt and touching way to leave with Daenerys, and we all know that usually when those goodbyes are like that, they never see each other again. So I do think that Jorah will die beyond the wall. And thank you for that super chat, Maya Tuttle. Q&A. Sansa said when Littlefinger gave Bran the Catspaw dagger, he never gives something without expecting a thing in return. Do you think that splitting up the Stark sisters is a thing he wants in return? No, I actually initially thought that he was just trying to cover his own ass, but when I went back and rewatched that, the whole time he's talking with Bran, at the beginning of the conversation, he's calling him Lord Stark, like calling him Lord of Winterfell. I think what Littlefinger's goal when giving Bran a gift is to basically make it, he was leading to the fact that Littlefinger kept saying, oh, I want to do whatever's best for House Stark, and if I was there, I would have stopped the dagger that killed your mother with my own body. Basically, I would have stopped it with my own heart. He's trying to get under Bran's skin and basically make it seem like Bran should be the Lord of Winterfell, and that's what's best for House Stark, because that would free up Sansa from being obligated to be at House Stark and being acting basically Queen of the North or acting Lady in House Stark, and it would free her up so that he could pursue his interest in wanting to marry her. So I think that's what he wanted. That was what he wanted, Sansa's hand in marriage by giving him that gift. Littlefinger doesn't do nothing in return. And now that, you know, we sort of have that kind of confirmed with Littlefinger having some definite back plans going on. Let's see. Do you think Gendry will sit the Iron Throne? I don't know, but I do think that he is pretty hardcore on the fact that Robert is his father. He was very accepting of that. He kept making it known, like, he put the fucking Baratheon sigil on his hammer, which is pretty fucking awesome. So, you know, I do think that Gendry could maybe not sit the Iron Throne. I think that Daenerys could potentially appoint him Lord of the Stormlands, you know? I definitely think that since he's accepting of his Baratheon ancestor, everyone always asks me what's going on in the Stormlands. I think it was occupied by House Lannister, but I can tell you that if Gendry survives and comes back south of the wall with Jon from Eastwatch, then he, after it's all said and done, he could potentially be, you know, appointed as Lord of the Stormlands, and maybe Daenerys could do that in hoping that he could bring some of the Baratheon houses that may still be loyal to someone who's got Baratheon blood. Maybe he can bring them into the fray and send even more troops up north. Q&A, do you think Benjen Stark will make a surprise appearance for Jon and company? I'm not really going to answer that because that gets into spoiler territory with plot leak. Let's see. Q&A. If they end up capturing a white to show Cersei, will that be to try and get her to help in fight against the dead? Yes, that's the goal of, like, obviously Jon needs to bring proof for Daenerys and Tyrion, but I think they believe him, but ultimately it's for Cersei and trying to get Cersei to give up this war. Because Daenerys says that if she takes all of her troops and goes up north, then Cersei will ultimately thought she won. Q&A. Do you think Bran will see Jon needs help and will warg Drogon and help him? I think that I definitely think that Bran's going to be taking tabs on the battle. You know, we kind of saw him doing that with the Crows. He was keeping tabs on the Night King, so he's definitely going to be watching out for Jon. I don't know if he'll warg Drogon, though. I don't know if he'll be able to warg Drogon from a distance like that. I think with something with warging a dragon, you might have to actually be, like, up close with that dragon. You know what I mean? I don't know if it'll work if Bran is warging the dragon through, like, a mental landscape. You know what I mean? This should tell you guys something. I'm so excited about talking to y'all about this. Usually, about halfway through, I would have left to go smoke a cigarette. I can't even do that. I'm so excited about this fucking episode. I can't wait to go back and break it down for y'all. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe, slap a like on this video, and then turn your notifications on so that way you get alerted every time I drop Game of Thrones content. And the next video I will be posting is the breakdown of episode 5. Oh, we got a super chat. This is from Matt Z. He says, thank you, sir. By the way, he says, what's the difference between the different types of resurrection? Night King versus Lord of Light versus the children. I think the children and the Night King is similar. The children of the Forest use old magic. But the way that they made the Night King is, like, I feel like the Night King and the White Walker's magic is based off of their magic because they used their old god magic to bring back, to make the first White Walker. So I think the White Walker's magic is technically, you know, he could be the Great Other, but he also could be based off of, like, old god magic. So it could be proven that maybe the Great Other was one of the original northern gods, the many nameless northern gods, and then it developed into its own kind of thing there. The difference with the Lord of the Light, okay, so basically, you know, you could say that old magic could be ice magic. Not really, because weirwood trees were all over Westeros, but it's like earth magic. So it's almost like the Children of the Forest use a mixture of old god magic and also ice magic. So the Night King resurrecting a white is, they're basically mindless and they still rot and deteriorate. And then when the Lord of Light brings someone back, they still rot and deteriorate, but not until they've been brought back many times. It depends on how they were killed and how they were taken out. And also you notice that Beric and Jon both have their mind still there. Like, they're still able to think independently and act on their own. Whereas when you're brought back from the Night King's magic, you are part of his hive mind almost immediately. So he controls you right away. Hopefully I answered your question, sir. Let's see. We have a super chat from Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. She says, have we seen warging into a dead or white character? No, we haven't. You know, we could be seeing that coming up this season. I do think that Bran could potentially... I made this prediction last September. I did a video. Nope, it was last August. It was one of the most viewed videos on my channel until this season started. Basically, in that video, I mentioned how I think that Bran could potentially control a pack of whites. Like, at some point when he's fighting the Night King, Bran could warg multiple whites and use those whites to sort of break through the line of defense that the Night King could have going in some sort of battle scenario. But no, we have not seen that on the TV show. We haven't seen someone warg a undead creature other than the Night King. I think that that's basically what the Night King's doing, is once he murders those, he necromances them, brings them back alive, and then he's using a form of warging to control them in a hive mind situation. And I think since it's a lot of his army's growing, he needs to get more White Walkers to help procure his lineage, because he can't procreate naturally, but also he needs help in bearing that grunt of having so many minds under his control. So the White Walkers help him with that. Q&A, Sir Hunt, what did you think about Tyrion being Azor Ahai? He has a relationship with the dragons, he did kill Shay, and there are multiple theories about him being a Targaryen. Tyrion is not a Targaryen. Not at all. I kind of explained that a little bit earlier, but basically that theory doesn't work for Tyrion, because Tyrion was born many years after Joanna Lannister was said to have been raped by the Mad King Aerys. Technically, she wasn't raped, but he was supposed to have taken liberties with her, so that age doesn't line up. Tyrion was born many years after that. Tyrion is, in fact, Tywin's son. I don't think Tyrion is Azor Ahai. I think Azor Ahai at this point is either Jon and Daenerys, and if it's not either one of them, then it's a collaborative effort. That everyone that went north of the wall with Jon Snow and every person that you see on the TV show fighting the fight for the White Walkers, like Daenerys and Tyrion, will eventually join that fray. So the Azor Ahai fits, it will be fulfilled by many people working towards the same goal. But I definitely don't think that he solo is Azor Ahai. And I don't think him having a relationship with dragons would have anything to do with him being Azor Ahai. Because that would mean that, you know, he only has a relationship with dragons because he's a Targaryen. But that's not the case. Tyrion's not a Targaryen. And I think that the only reason why the dragons bonded with him is because they can immediately sense who's friend or foe. And they sense that Tyrion was friend. And that also Tyrion's been obsessed with dragons his whole life. So Tyrion was basically fanboying over the dragons in that moment. The dragons could sense that. And they knew that he wasn't there to harm them. He was there to free them. So he did bond them with him. And I do think he could be a dragon rider. But I don't think that he's a Targaryen. Q&A. Now that Cersei is pregnant, does this mean that it is less probable that Jaime will kill Cersei? Well, I feel like if Cersei really is pregnant and then Jaime finds out she's not, that will be the ultimate thing that will make her leave her side and just say fuck it, like he's in the books. Like he burns her messages. Like she sends him crows, telling him about her trial and shit, and he literally just burns it. He is so past Cersei, it's ridiculous. But I do think that her initially being pregnant right now definitely turns him away from wanting to kill her. But I ultimately think she's either not really pregnant and she's just doing that to kind of rope him back in, or you know, maybe I don't really know there, but I definitely don't think that she will be safe from him for too long if he's the one to kill her. But like I said, I think Cersei will be one of the last people left alive. Q&A. Will Jon run into Benjen while beyond the wall? Don't want to answer that because that could be spoilery. Q&A. Isn't Dany Jon Snow's aunt? Are they throwing us all off by dropping hints at a true love story? I don't think so. I think they're definitely dropping hints that they're going to hook up. The question is, will Jon Snow find out about his lineage before he initially hooks up with her? And I don't think he will. And I don't think that Daenerys will either. So I think it will maybe... Game of Thrones does not give a shit. Jaime and Cersei shared a womb and they were fucking the first episode. Okay? Like the first episode ended with them screwing each other. They don't care if it's an aunt and a nephew. They don't give a shit. That's further away than two siblings who shared the same womb, you know? So I don't know. Let's see, we got a super chat from Jeremiah, and he says Dany's actions have now driven Varys to drink and bring up bitter memories of her insane father. Is this just plot drama, or should we really worry? I don't think that Varys is going to betray her, because ultimately after he was talking shit about the Mad King, he says, I know Daenerys isn't going to become the Mad King as long as she's got good people that advise her. And, you know, enter him and Tyrion giving her advice. And I do think that it's just, I don't think it's anything we should worry about too much there. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, we got a super chat from Jaehaerys Targaryen, and he says, I'm a true Targaryen now. Oh, are you really? Because I thought your name was Aemon. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Oh, it looks like I missed a chat. Okay. Thank you, Peter Romero. He pointed that out. Super chat from Josh Stringfellow. What do you think the scroll Arya got this episode is about? Hope you reach 20,000. Well, thank you for that. Congratulations. And I think... Well, I know what was on that scroll. That scroll is basically the same raven that Sansa... It was written by Sansa to Robb Stark, to basically telling Robb to come down south and bend the knee, and that he's betraying Joffrey, the one true king of Westeros. And Sansa didn't write that in a clear head. She had basically seen her father died, and Cersei forced her into writing that note. So I think that Littlefinger has a good plan in trying to play the Starks against each other, and I'm honestly interested to see how it's going to pop out. But I think that ultimately that scroll was, that's what that was. And I did freeze frame it, and I could see that it was, it was that note. It was written by Sansa, and it was sent, obviously, to Winterfell to ultimately be given to Robb Stark. Let's see. Kevin Fox, thank you, sir. We got a super chat from him, and he says, theory on how the show will end as of right now. I mean, it's hard because we have we have 8 episodes left total. We have 2 this season, 6 next season. Just from what we've been given, mostly everyone dies. Arya, Tyrion, Jon, or Daenerys, and Cersei are left to kind of decide what's to go from there. I think all of Daenerys' Dothraki will be wiped out. That kind of gets rid of the problem with them becoming reapers and raving over Westeros after the War for the Dawn. If some of them survive, I think most of the Dothraki will be on the front lines when that big War for the Dawn begins. I just see it ending with a few of the main characters being alive, and then we have basically a democracy where instead of having kings and queens and who sits the Iron Throne, there is a self-elected leader, and I think that self-elected leader would likely either be Jon because he doesn't want the throne, or Daenerys because she's a breaker of change and she's a freer of the people. Hopefully I answered your question there. Let's see. Q&A. What if Euron betrays Cersei because Dany gives him what he wants? I think Daenerys would be hard pressed to make an alliance with Euron. I think the only way she would do that is if Jon Snow dies, and she literally, she's just worried about fighting Daenerys. Like Jon Snow isn't successful in bringing back the proof of the White Walkers. Q&A, what do you think Dany will do? Explain more. What do I think Dany will do about what? Q&A, do you think Cersei might try to punish Bron, or will she forget about it since she told Jaime never betray her again? No, I do think that she is going to be basically hand in hand with that. Like she told Jaime don't betray me again, but just to ice that over to make sure he doesn't, she's going to likely try to kill Bron. We know it's like, we know it's the last few episodes. We know characters are going to be dropping off, and we honestly haven't lost that many main characters this season besides from Olenna Tyrell and Randall and Dickon, and potentially Yara. And we have lost some characters, but not like previous seasons. So there's a chance that they could die. All right, and we are actually at 2 hours and 1 minute, and I have 2,000 people watching me right now. Which is fucking insane. I can't even believe these words are about to come out of my mouth. But I think I'm going to take a few more questions and then we're going to be wrapping it up because I got a long night ahead of me. I got to start working on that breakdown. But yeah, so I'll answer a few more questions. Let's see, Q&A. What do you think Davos is going to do now that he stays back at Eastwatch? Likely be the correspondence with the Ravens. Maybe if someone tries to send word via Raven, or someone needs to send word to Daenerys via Raven, it would likely be him. I don't think we'll see him too much this season, or too much next episode. Maybe on the last episode when we see Jon and them coming back to Eastwatch. Q&A. Mr. Robot Season 3 is coming. Will you cover it after 20,000? I've actually never seen that show. I know a lot of people were talking about how good it is, but I've never watched it. I think the main reason why is because I stay away from shows that come on like TBS and TNT and channels like that, and like even the DC and Marvel series that come on ABC and CW. I just don't watch those. I feel like I've been jaded by watching Game of Thrones and Westworld and even The Walking Dead in its earlier seasons. I've been jaded by such cinematic scale television that trying to watch a show like that has a lower budget, I couldn't get into it. But I will give it a try, and I guess I could consider, if I enjoy it, I definitely could cover it. I'm a big fan of sci-fi as well, so I know that, it sort of has something to do with that and computers and artificial intelligence and all that good stuff. So, if it's good, I'll give it a try. I'll try to watch the first few episodes. Q&A, is Sandor going to die next episode due to his busted leg? Nope. We see Sandor north of the wall. We see him with a huge snowy background, and it's clearly at Eastwatch. It's kind of confirmed. But we also see him, and this is the Season 7 trailer, the official trailer number 2 that we got from Game of Thrones, from HBO. You also see him in a sunny environment down south, and we have not seen that shot. So he definitely makes it back from Eastwatch by the sea, and that's just basing it on the trailer, so there's no spoilers there. Do you think it's possible that after Cersei's death, Jaime and Dany would marry to reunite the kingdoms? I don't think so. I think Jon is going to be the one to get some Daenerys. I don't think that Jaime could love anyone you know, if Cersei dies. But I think if Jaime's gonna get with anyone, it's gonna be with Brienne. If it's not Cersei. I think I missed a super chat. Hang on one second. Yes, Kevin. Oh no, I got that one. Okay, Matt Z, was there another symbol on the ground in the episode 6 preview? I haven't actually watched that yet. I have not seen that yet. Thank you for the super chat, and I will be watching that. So I'll probably answer. I'll try to answer that in my episode 5 promo breakdown. Send me that in a message on Facebook. If you added me on Facebook or on Patreon, it's easier if you send it on Twitter or on Facebook, because I don't have the Patreon app on my phone because it always malfunctions with the version of the OS of the Android lollipop that I have. So I always have to check it online, and I forget sometimes. So that's why it takes me a little bit longer to get back to those messages. Q&A, do you think Bron will rescue Tyrion? It's definitely possible now, because Cersei may be throwing him in jail, so that could definitely happen. Q&A, did Sam hear what Gilly read about the annulment? Yeah, he did, but he wasn't really listening. He immediately went into his rant about how he's tired of reading about the deeds of other men, or deeds of better men. So he, you know, that's basically, his father told him that line. So it's ironic that he lost his dad, and like some of the last words his father said to him at that dinner table with Gilly last season. You remember last season it was awkward family dinners was the theme last season. But during that, you know, he mentions like you're satisfied with reading about the deeds of better men than you are. So when Sam does that, he kind of wasn't listening to anything Gilly was saying because he went on that tangent right afterwards. So I don't think that he heard it per se, but Gilly will be bringing that back up. Oh, we got a super chat from Jeremiah, and he says, you wield a mighty dagger. Any proficiency with a warhammer? What do you mean? Me? Am I good with a warhammer? A dagger? I don't have a dagger. I have I've got a, you call that a knife? I've got one of those. You call that a knife? This is a knife. It's Valerian steel. Always wanted some Valerian steel. I think that's what you were talking about. Preacher, yes, I actually loved that show, the first season of that. I haven't watched any of the new episodes yet, though. I've been pretty much focused on Game of Thrones. Let's see, I will answer one more question, and then I will be dipping out, because you guys have rocked with me for a while now. Q&A, do you think any main characters are going to die next episode? Jorah. I've been saying that this whole breakdown. Maybe Jorah. And I'm kind of worried about him. You know, I think he's officially cured of his grayscale. There's still a chance that he didn't get cured, but I think the fact that he kissed Daenerys and held her hands was like the show showing us, yes, he's officially cured. Sam's cure does work. Jorah, and you know, I think the safe bet is Jorah. I don't think we'll lose Gendry because he just came back. You know, it would be possible, but I think Gendry will reunite with Arya. So I'm just gonna say Jorah to be safe. All right, so that is going to bring me. Let me make sure I did not miss any super chats. I did not miss any. Oh wait, yes I did. Super chat from Evan Gallagher. Thank you, sir. He said, I predict the Hound will face off with a Walker. I can't wait. The Hound will punish those motherfuckers. Like, you guys seen, what is that? It's an episode of The Walking Dead where Daryl is like being pinned by a tree and a walker's coming up and he has to like reach back and grab a White Walker, or grab a walker, and he shoves his eyes into the fingers and then rips it out and the spinal cord comes out. I can see Sandor doing some shit like that to these dead whites, like basically picking up by their throat by one hand and just slamming them down and punching through them, like skull obliterating. That's gonna be insane. Hashtag Team Gendry, hell yeah. 1,600 likes, hell yeah. Peter the Noble, aren't we gonna watch the... I would, but it's gonna make me open up another can of worms, and I gotta get working on that breakdown, bro. It's gonna take me at least 7 hours to work on this video, so I need to get started on that. Q&A, do you think that Gilly took that book about Rhaegar? Potentially. Or she could recall it and then, you know, bring it up after Bran confirms that Jon is not technically a Stark. he is a Stark, and by marriage too. So he would, you know, but he's a Targaryen. His last name would be Targaryen. All right. So let's see. We hit that 19.500K goal. We hit that. Let's see. Did we hit the 2,000 likes goal? No, we didn't hit the 2,000 likes goal, but we can try. And all of y'all that are tuning in after I, you know, I don't even know what I was thinking at. But if you're rewatching this after it's not live, please go ahead and slap a like on it. My brain is exhausted. We chatted. We covered a lot of stuff. My mouth is tight. Like literally my jaws are like tired from talking. I'll probably sound pretty laid back in my breakdown video. We'll see. I usually tend to get hype when I'm rethinking about stuff like that. All right. So I want to thank you all. Oh man, we just got a super chat. We got a super chat from Lisa. Final predictions for the night: Arya marries Gendry, Cersei marries Jon, Sansa marries Jaime. She had one brother. Might as well, bro. Those are some interesting predictions. That's awesome. I like those predictions, Lisa. Thank you for that super chat. The only one I agree with is Arya marrying Gendry. And I think you were obviously joking about Cersei marrying Jon and then Sansa marrying Jaime. That was pretty clever. But yeah, thank you for that super chat. I see you, Peter. Yeah, I'm gonna make her a mod after I get out of here. I'm looking at the chat on my phone and it won't let me make mods from my chat. From the chat box on my phone. I have to do it from the site. All right. Well, yes, that brings us to the end of this live stream. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, subscribe. Go ahead and make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted when I drop my episode 5 breakdown. We just got a super chat from Matt. MVP says another great live stream. Thank you. No, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Like I said, you guys who watch me and subscribe to me help me in supporting, you know, making this channel get bigger and bigger. And also, you know, if you want to, you know, do the Patreon thing or do like a one-time donation, any of that, all of that helps into making this a full-time job. Alright, so yeah, if you could please slap a like on this video. If you'd like to be entered into my contest to once we reach 20,000 subscribers, which will likely be tomorrow or later on tonight, you can win a Funko Mystery Pop figure. All you have to do to enter that contest is like this video, subscribe, comment down below after this video ends up wrapping up, and then also hop on Twitter and follow me. I want to thank you all so much. We stayed over 2,000 people watching the entire time in this live stream. That is a monumentous, insane, you know, huge landmark we've hit on this channel. I'm trying to think of all the big words. I cannot believe we did that. That's awesome. Fuck yeah, I want to thank you all for doing that. And I also want to thank you all so much again for watching. The like goal for this video will be, let's say, 2,000. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Stay tuned for my episode 5 breakdown. Thanks again for watching. This has been Sir Hunt's Reviews. That was my Scottish accent. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone. Thanks everyone, y'all rock.